Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cosplay, Togs, and All Things Nerdy. I'm one of your hosts today, iPhoto UK. Yeah, we also have Switch. And we've got a couple of guests for you. A couple of really exciting guests, actually, this week. So
I think you're overselling us.
Yeah, definitely.
First of all, we have Declan Scammell, an awesome UK cosplay photographer. And we have Troy, Captain Tempest. So, Declan, you can introduce yourself. Start by telling everybody your socials and give us a little brief introduction about yourself. And off you go.
Okay, so I am at Declan Scammell on basically every platform. I'm a professional photographer inside and outside the cosplay world. I shoot all sorts of stuff that you will find on my socials. I don't know how PG we're keeping this.
I mean, you could go explicit to a point.
So I'm known for shooting more spicy boudoir work. I also do weddings. And then I do...
Boudoir weddings?
Huh?
Spicy boudoir weddings?
I haven't yet. I did have someone say to me I should do like a boudoir package for the honeymoon. Especially for destination weddings.
So in other words, so you can get a holiday as well.
No, I do destination weddings already.
Sounds good to me.
Those are always good. And yeah, that's it.
So, how did you get into the cosplay scene?
I got into the cosplay scene as a attendee. So I've already started 16 years ago, going to Comic-Con London with friends rather than sixth form. Then it was Instagram, and it was being inspired by amazing cosplayers, the geek and nerd community. There's an amazing US cosplayers, a couple of them, but the main one that was a huge influence to my actual life, for many reasons, is a guy called Will, but online he's known as Thor Golden Cub. So because of him in the US, that I met Emerald Archer, who is a UK cosplayer who has become one of my best friends. And then we got chatting maybe 3 years before the pandemic. It was around the time there were a radio photo shoot. Then I was diagnosed with cancer and like the shoot got cancelled and went from there. Then we actually finally met each other like 3 years ago at Con, like the first one after lockdown finished.
Cool. And bit of a loaded question, put you on the spot. Do you have a favourite con or event that has stood out to you so far since you've been attending?
I have two. SecretCon is my favourite to attend, to relax, to shoot, and to do what I do best. MCM, Birmingham, or London, but mainly Birmingham now, is my work and networking event. I know people have a lot of issues with them because they're so expensive now and they're overcrowded. But for me, I get a lot of work from brands and from just general cosplayers, and it's marketing for me. So those are the two sort of events that are big for me.
Okay. And Troy, over to you. Introduce yourself.
So yeah, I'm Troy. I'm Captain Tempest on Instagram and pretty much everywhere. I've been cosplaying for near on 10 years now, I think. Pretty much started with the fact getting old, feeling it. Pretty much started because I just wanted to own a certain prop and couldn't afford it, and ended up falling into a hole which got a hell lot bigger.
Yeah, I that feeling. That's fair.
And then
again, what would you say to date has been your favourite con or event so far?
So very similar to Declan, I like ones for different reasons. I love SecretCon for photos and stuff. For me, SecretCon never seems to be relaxing. I seem to be running around trying to get my own stuff and get everyone else to do stupid little dances. So I've never relaxed at one of those, but I love it.
I mean,
And
I
then
suppose we can blame John Cena for that, because if he hadn't have like picked up on it and mentioned it and showed it to a certain director, he might not have bothered doing a second one. So we'll blame
I
John
genuinely
Cena
don't
and
even know.
thank John Cena at the same time.
I genuinely don't even know how it came about that I even started the first one or the second one ever even came about. I have no idea. I can't remember.
Not sure.
Um,
Not
and
sure.
then very similar to Declan, probably MCM. I think it's because I sort of like jumped in a bit at the deep end. So I'd been to Birmingham once and then went to London after the pandemic. So I'd never really been to a massive con, even though I've been cosplaying for years. And it was just like a whole new world opened up. Um, I really like the out of con part of MCM, to be honest, actually, rather than always inside. It's more I get to see my friends and everything, although they're making it harder and harder to find places to actually stay and hang around with your friends. I don't actually go into the convention that much, to be honest.
No.
Except when your missus loses her pass and then you suddenly want to go in.
God, yeah. Well, no, that's because you
I
couldn't get
don't
in the
think.
barrier section.
Well, I don't think myself and Switch need to introduce ourselves again. We've done that a few too many times now, so
Yeah.
we'll skip that bit.
Photography
Now-
nerds.
Photography
Well, yeah.
nerds. I like Secret Con. He likes Volta. There we go. That's our
There
introduction.
we go.
for
That's
you.
it.
That's our introduction.
I mean, you have to like Secret Con.
Technically, I
You
like
proposed at the
Secret Con
bloody
well.
thing.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
I
fair.
can't really say I don't. But yeah, so this week we are going to talk about understanding cons and events, both UK and overseas. We'll chat a little bit about what to expect generally from the different types of events for anyone that's never been to them or is quite new to them. We'll chat about some of our own experiences about each of the types of events, what we like, what we don't like quite so much. What each type of event is primarily good for, who and what they're aimed at, the type of person, and just generally have a bit of a chat about cons as a whole. And hopefully you'll find it entertaining. You may even, get a little bit of new information from it. But yeah, let's see how this goes. So first of all, I think we're just going to chat briefly about the types of conventions and events, because on the surface of it, it doesn't sound like there's that many, but there's probably more than you think. So
They're all the same.
I wish they were. You've got your mainstream cons like MCM, Megacon, Monopoly. Gaming conventions, so EGX, although that's now become part of MCM, which
Kind of merged now, haven't
quite
they?
interested to see how that goes. And then Insomnia, RIP. Unfortunately, that one is.
May you rest in
at the
peace.
moment.
We loved you.
Hopefully, it's going to come back, but who knows? And then you've got your smaller cons or your local town cons. So, all your little local town and city conventions, and some of your smaller run events. Your photo cons, so your camp cosplay, your secret con, and then just other types of events like Fantasy Forest. So yeah, there's a few types of events there, and then in sort of each category, if you like, you've got a lot of events within. I think the calendar now. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm feeling the calendar now is getting fuller and fuller.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had a look at. I jumped onto a website earlier that lists most events, and there used to be like a lull in the middle of the year in the summer where you could just have a break, do what you wanted. Now it just seems as though there's multiple events every single month, and I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's kind of times are hard for a lot of people financially, cost of living and all the rest of it, and that's really starting to scatter people around. I think for me, people used to attend the main key events. You could always guarantee you'd see people largely at all of those events, but people are sort of cutting back now because they just can't afford to go to the mall. I know I can't.
I kind of think also with that though as well, it's kind of opening the door for some of the smaller cons because they are at a cheaper price, and you want to get that fix of going to a convention or a con and basically going, right, I'm still getting that fix, but okay, it's not the MCM, it's not a Megacon, but I'm still getting out of that hobby, I'm still getting out there in cosplay, I'm still going to be able to do stuff because that time is, but it does feel like, especially this year, I think there was one January, I think February, March, April, May. I think spent about the first 6 months at a con every month.
I think I have conned every month this year.
Yeah,
I think I'm pretty similar.
It's crazy, and I think as well, when after the pandemic, when the likes of Repop and MCM cut back on their calendar and withdrew from, they dropped from 2 events in Birmingham to 1. They pulled out of Ireland, I think. They pulled out of Scotland.
Pulled out Manchester as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they pulled out Manchester, right? Yeah. And it kind of left a bit of a hole for certain geographical areas. But with a lot of the new ones springing up now, I know Monopoly have launched a few more.
Yeah.
Megacon have taken over sort of where MCM left off from the likes of Manchester, Scotland. They do one in Dublin.
Megacon now does the
XL. London's getting more because I think I read that Repop had exclusive rights to the XL for so many years, and then rights have ran out. So that's why there's more and more popping up at the XL.
Them. So they had a deal, I believe, with XL. So the XL couldn't hire it out for a con type event of a similar nature. That lapsed, I think,
this year,
end of last year. And
that's why we got January.
Repop decided they didn't want to pay to renew it. So that opened up the scope for the likes of Megacon, Monopoly. I think they've just done. Was it for the Love of Fantasy? Something like that?
Yeah. About weekend. I think it was last weekend. It was the Love of Fantasy, the Monopoly event in XL as well.
So, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see more events cropping up in XL as well, because it's a large venue, it's in a reasonable location. It's not great for hotel prices, but I don't know about you, but hotel prices around that area seem to have just gone through the roof since the pandemic. It's just insane.
We're literally bouncing between different places every single year, just trying to find somewhere to even stay.
Yeah. I used to pay sub £300 for a weekend for MCM for a hotel around the area, and now you're lucky if you can find one for less than 800.
1,200, 1,300, I think now for a hotel.
Crazy.
At the cheapest if you want close proximity.
Someone sent me a deal for the Sunborn the other day, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's such a good price." I looked and it was like £385 a night. I'm like, that is a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't have £380 a night to stay that close.
Yeah,
for it.
That's one of the things we'll get onto when we talk about overseas.
When I went to Volta in May, my whole expense.
You've been to Malta?
Shut it, you. My whole expense from Thursday to Tuesday, bearing in mind it's in Italy, including flights, accommodation, car hire, paying for some bits and pieces for my assistant, the event ticket, I spent less than the average hotel cost for Friday to Monday for a May MCM London. So, that kind of puts into perspective. And, bear in mind, this is not MCM's fault here. They don't have any say or any sway over the hotel prices. This is.
I think it's just a geographical point. The fact that it's you're in London. 2, you're right next to an airport, and there's a big convention.
I think what has also put hotel prices up in that area is the opening of the Elizabeth line.
Yeah,
because that part of London used to be 45 minutes on average 45 minutes to an hour from central London
Yeah.
on the DLR. It's now 20 minutes or less from central London. So it makes it much more accessible. So now people can stay at the Sunbourne for a normal weekend trip in London, knowing they've got a really nice swanky hotel, and they're only 20 minutes from central London. So I think that probably, and we know people are trying to cash in from the pandemic, but hey ho, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, have any of you guys been to any of the gaming cons? I know I went to Insomnia. Was it this year? I think, yeah, this year for the first time. I only went for a day.
So I've done Insomnia and I've done RuneFest because I'm a RuneScape nerd.
Wow, RuneFest! I forgot about that one.
Yeah, RuneFest is actually kind of fun. And I don't know if you class it as a con, but it does have cosplay. I've done I can't think what it's called. Magic the Gathering. I've done Pro Tour a couple of times. So you go to play Magic the Gathering, but you also have like shops there, stalls there, cosplayers there, etc. So I've just done Pro Tour Amsterdam. I've done London before. I did. Which one did I do? LA before as well.
Cool. What about EGX? Anybody done EGX?
I've done EGX. I did EGX just before the pandemic, so 2019, I think it was. And that was when we had like the Avengers and the new Modern Warfare, well, the revamp of the Modern Warfare. The first one came out. That was very big with like sort of Sony, Xbox, Nintendo, and a lot of computer companies. I was having a chat with someone the other day who does a lot of work with EGX, and she was saying that it's not quite the same as it used to be. Like PlayStation, Xbox aren't attending them anymore, so it's more of an indie game sort of thing now. It's not as hyped or as big as it was previously.
They're going more
makes
in-house,
sense,
don't they?
So
like
I think that's probably why Repop are moving it. Yeah. I think that's probably why Repop are moving it in-house with MCM now, because it's not as huge a deal as it was, like you say, with the likes of PlayStation and Xbox and others not being there. So I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, like I say, I only did Insomnia for a day this year, but I really enjoyed it. I love the chill vibe of it. You know, just going around and still seeing a few. I mean, they did have a cosplay zone, which was great. So, you know, got a few shots with a few cosplay friends and wandering around getting like free gifts from like loads of stuff from like Red Bull, Monster. Loads of stalls were like just giving stuff away, and it's great for that.
Not mouse pad, talk desk map.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
That was the thing I did notice about EGX was that you'd go around and you just get all these little freebies from all the different dev companies and all these other bits and pieces there. But I think that's that corporate side, though, isn't it? They have that budget and that funding to
have an allocation.
marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
it reminds me of back in the day when I did a lot of makeup work, and I went to LA for like the International Makeup Artist Trade Show. I also did Australia, and I'd done the UK. And stalls would just give you free shit because they had the allocation. And like, especially when I did one, it didn't really work in the UK. Say, hey, I'm a British makeup artist. They're like, cool, so is everyone. Cool. If you're in like LA or whatever, and you're like, hey, yeah, British makeup artist. They're like, oh my god, take our brand back to the UK. And I had to buy an extra suitcase once, which was all the makeup I was given that like got added to my kit, and it was like thousands of pounds worth. I mean, they have these like PR budget.
I mean, that's better than when you went to Japan and had to buy an extra suitcase. But we'll save that chat.
Are you bringing that one up?
PG.
We'll probably save that chat for another topic.
Bonus episode.
No, I mean, I've not done EGX, but I know my friend Terry did EGX last October, and he said they were really well received. Like him and the Cyberpunk group that he sort of gets together, they all got creators, they all got like really nicely looked after by EGX. And he said, although there wasn't, there's nowhere near as many cosplayers there as MCM, but he just said it was a really good vibe and he really enjoyed it. So
he tried to get me to come down for that one, and I was torn a little bit because I'd been to EGX before, and I was like, I know what the cosplay scene sort of was like, and I was like, I don't know if I wanted
had to
or
make
not.
the decision whether to do EGX or MCM October, Obviously, because of the cost, there's no way I could have done both in the same month, and I chose to go with MCM.
Same here.
So I'm kind of glad that they bought it into one event. I'll be interested to see, particularly if they finish the new alterations at XL by then. It should be quite cool, actually.
I mean, yeah, that's all. I always seem to drive into the XL, and there's always something extra that's been done to the alterations of that place every time I go there.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of local and small cons as well now. It's like there seems to be like new ones springing up every week. There used to be like the odd one or two, and they used to be really tiny. Hardly anyone used to go to them, but they seem to be coming again. I think because of cost, more and more popular. I mean, you've got MCon, which is in Nottingham. That's a relatively small con, but seems to be quite a nice one. And I know, is it Monopoly now? They've taken over, either taken over or launched a load of local cons now, like Midlands Con. I know the one in Derby a couple of months ago, that used to be independent. That's now Monopoly. There just seems to be loads springing up, and I know
Monopoly seems to be
Telford the other.
Yeah,
Monopoly seems to be very a little bit like you said with EGX. There doesn't seem as much cosplay at Monopoly ones when I've been.
they seem to be more guest orientated. Like some of the guests they have for Monopoly are just like.
Which one's Monopoly? Is that London Film Comic Con?
No. So like Liverpool Comic Con.
Yes,
the other one in
I always
Manchester.
think Liverpool. And do they do Edinburgh or whatever the Scotland one do?
Yeah,
they always have the best guests. I think either Liverpool or Scotland has like nearly the whole cast of Charmed or something going to it.
Like an insane amount of guests.
It's where I met Cena. I met that was a Monopoly event in Wales, and then in October.
Did you go to the Telford one?
Yes, it's the only con he's done ever in the
my
UK.
other half was there, yeah.
And that's where I got up on stage with him.
Nice.
I'm going up to Edinburgh in October to meet Charlie Cox.
Nice.
I don't really know much other cons that he seems to go to. Monopoly seems to get really good guests. They seem to be.
Monopoly's guests are amazing, which surprises me because I always think MCM London would have better guests, but they don't.
Yeah, well, they used to. I think MCM London have kind of focused on different things now, whereas Monopoly, like you get guests going to Monopoly, like you say, that you just don't see at any other UK conventions.
I've never been to Edinburgh, so literally within minutes of him being, I was like, I'm going to Edinburgh.
Really nice place. I've never been to a con there, but Edinburgh as a city is amazing.
That's a beautiful city.
Yeah, it is.
We need to do a shared con calendar next year, Darren. It's like plan events we want to go to.
Travel and just share travel and apartments.
Just get someone that can drive a bus and just get a coach. And just go up and down the country, just pick everyone up.
I have the license for that. If you guys share the cost of the coach and fuel, I'll do that.
Okay.
Well, we've got a secret con written on it.
I mean, there's the other one to talk about. Obviously, there's a kind of new breed of event now, which I think, it's been around in Europe for a while, but photo cons. So, we all know about Secret Con.
Do we? What's Secret Con?
So, well, Secret Con is, I think everyone knows what Secret Con is, but for anybody that doesn't, Secret Con is it's an event. It's not like your normal convention. It's purely based around photography, video, and cosplay. So we don't have guests. We don't have any panels or workshops. Although we're not adverse to trying that idea. I know Cos Expo used to be a bit of a mix of a photo con and a full-on con with like panels and things and a few stalls. And they just have like really cool locations around the UK, and you buy a ticket, you register, you buy a ticket, and you rock up on the day or the weekend, and just create really cool content. You get access to
a stupid little
venues that you wouldn't normally get access to yourself or would be too expensive. So it's almost like doing a really cool out-of-con shoot, but it's at an event, so it's cost effective. And these type of events have been going in Europe for a little while now, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But it's nice to see, you know, other events cropping up. So Camp Cosplay is a relatively new photocon. I think they're at, they use the same venue, I believe, which is like is it like a Centre Park type
Yes, it
venue
is.
in Wales, and you hire a hut or a cabin, and yeah, the location itself is really cool. It's not a huge capacity event, but from what I've seen and heard of Camp Cosplay so far, it's all good. It sounds like a really amazing event, particularly if you're into sort of fantasy cosplays, I think.
Also, it's not too
one I'd like
expensive.
to try at some point. No, it's not. No, considering you get your accommodation kind of in with your ticket, I think the price is
either
really reasonable.
£120 or £160
Yeah, it's
per
around
person.
there. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The only difference is, I think one person has to pay, because you basically book a hut.
Yeah.
And you either book 4, 6, and 8, or 12, I think.
Yeah, so I think someone has
and
to
then
bear
the ticket
the
price.
cost.
Yeah, so you've got to upfront the cost, someone has to, and then get split.
Well, that's more of a venue restriction, isn't it? Because it's just like booking, if you booked at Butlins or something like that, you couldn't all 4 of you pay a little bit each. It's just one booking. But I think the concept is great. I know I think they're about to do their second one in the new year, is it? Or
doing their second one in the new year, which came under a bit of controversy.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to get that. They're a new event. I mean, I know
the controversy was good, if you ask me. It was more the fact that, so basically what happened was, if you had attended the first one, you had access to a pre-sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what happened was something like 20%, or like, it was 20 or 30% tickets were left after the pre-sale for the general public.
Yeah.
So it was like announced, and then the day it was announced, like I went on like 3 or 4 hours later, because a load of like companies were attempting to do it, and I thought, you know what, sod it. There was like, I think there was like 16 or 17 of us like in the chat that were like kind of up for it. So I thought if I get a 4 or a 6, whatever's available, I'd be able to get enough people who would be up for it. So I thought, I'll do that. And all of them are sold out. I wouldn't be surprised if they reopen sales, because if they were to go back to whoever it is that has it, like Centre Parks or whatever, and they're like, cool. Yeah, because they now know they've got the interest from a business point of view.
I think they were just from a new business perspective. I think they were probably playing it a little bit safe, and I 100% can't blame them for that. As a new business, you can't
100%.
really afford to take risks. You've got to test the water, and it's a new concept. I know WonderCon, I think, operates the same way over in Europe, so I think it's a similar sort of concept. But I think WonderCon is exclusive use of the venue. But when you're a new business, you can't necessarily just afford to go, right, we're going to book this entire venue, commit to the cost, and then all of a sudden you find out you've only sold a third of the tickets. It's a risk they just can't afford to take. So whilst there may be people out there that were disappointed, there's always next time. And I think they're talking about doing a couple of events a year now because they've realised that it's more popular than they thought. So yeah, I mean, I fully support those guys. It seems like a really cool concept. I didn't bother trying to book tickets for next year because I think it's the week before I go away on my Norwegian Forge cruise, so I couldn't really justify it. But
if I'd have got tickets, I would have figured a way of convincing you to come.
But I think they're going to do a second event next year. Is it maybe September time? So yeah, I'd definitely be on board for that.
I mean,
I'm really up for that.
Coming from a cosplayer's point of view, I now, because of the photocons like SecretCon, and if any more pop up and stuff, I actually plan to do new cosplays there, more so than like MCM now, because I know I'm going to get the content that I did.
If you're going to
the whole point was this guy.
Yeah.
The whole point of that was I wanted that at SecretCon.
Yeah, why not? And I think if you're going to put the time into and money, more importantly, you know, cosplay is not cheap. I mean, I've only
So they were like
cosplayed
a five of these suits off AliExpress.
Yeah, all
I
right.
mean,
And look, I got from Troy then.
I've only tried cosplaying once, and that was at Secret Con Magna last year, and that was when I did Deckard from Blade Runner 2049. And just the sheer time and effort that goes into like finding all the bits, and then
How much were those trousers?
So yeah, don't. So yeah, I'm a bit, you know, I love Blade Runner. Everyone knows that. So I'd spent ages researching the colour of the trousers, what style they were, and I couldn't find anything similar. And then after a lot of searching, I came across a website that gave me the exact make and model of trousers that he wore. And I found the company still made them. And then I found a site that sold them, and they were like £100. And I was just like, now I've found them, I can't not buy them. So yeah, and I've worn them once. But
That's cheap.
Cosplay wear is really good there.
But yeah, it's so I think got a little off topic there. I think what I'm trying to say is if people are spending so much time,
I can imagine.
I think if people are spending so much time and money on making a cosplay, then revealing it at a photocon seems like the best place for it, because you know you're going to get the content for it. There's more and more photographers now that are moving towards photocons, because like I say, it's like doing out a con shoots with 5, 10, 15, however many people you want to shoot with.
It just feels like there's a bit more freedom with creativity as well. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
If you were at a standard convention, it's limited to the imagination there, but like...
Yeah, exactly.
My favourite content come from places like that.
Photocons.
Yeah. We all love the grey stone wall background, or the orchard at MCM.
Or a car park wall with some lighting on.
Well, no, because that one I feel like we have more creative control over.
Why do it?
I've seen Darren's 15-point lighting setups.
Or if we go back to the, I think it was October MCM last year when they had the yellow bus. I mean,
the Buffy bus, yeah.
No, that was May. That was for the new Buffy book.
That's right. No, it wasn't May last year. I didn't do May last year.
No, it was October. It was October.
October, yeah.
How is it all blended? How is October like a year ago?
It's because Megacon with January just makes, because it's at XL and you go there, you're just like, oh, hang on. It threw me off this year. Massively threw me off.
Yeah. But no, that bus was amazing. I mean, the shoot I did with
one
Terry,
of my favourite photos you've ever taken.
It's possibly one of my favourite shoots I've done. Particularly at a convention, it just worked. And Terry's amazing anyway. We all love Terry.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff I've done the stuff I've done at SecretCon, like me talking on your photos, Darren, the Weapon X stuff. Would have never ever got that at somewhere like MCM at all. First time I came to SecretCon, I did the Bond scene from Casino Royale with Carlos. Would have never been able to do anything like that.
And you did Batman as well. You were jumping around all the balconies and stairs, weren't you?
Are you allowed to jump around and do that?
Hang on a sec. Was health and safety permitted?
Yeah, this is when Troy nearly got banned from SecretCon.
Golden Boy gets banned.
Well, he wasn't Golden Boy then. That was our first ever event.
Okay.
That was arguably
so that the rule's there now because of Troy, so we can say because of him.
We all came to know Troy, but
my favourite one was when that incident happened with the shoot at the prison, and everyone looked at me because they know I shoot Boudoir, and you were doing the talk on. You were doing the talk on the Sunday, and you're like, you can't do like full adult content here, even though we're over 18.
Everyone turned and looked at you.
Everyone turned and looked at me. I was like, no, my content had permission.
I did do it, but not this one.
Exactly, because I had permission from the man that side on my screen, and Also, I posted that image and tagged SequelCon that evening. I did it straight away. If I was trying to hide it, I'm doing a shit job.
I think it's probably worth me saying as well, I mean, SecretCon is an over 18s event. We don't allow under 18s because that in itself brings problems. So,
Yes, I will pay higher insurance prices.
I will say to anyone, if ever there is a shoot that you would like to do at one of our events that we don't normally allow, please come and speak to one of us and put the idea to us, particularly in advance. And if there's any way we can do it, maybe at the end of a day in a controlled manner, section off an area, then, we will always give it consideration. And I think this is the other thing about the sort of smaller photo. Yeah, exactly. I think this
That's
is
how we did you in Smoke Bombs.
Say again?
That's how we shot Troy in the smoke machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No smoke was allowed at that event, but we waited till the whole place was evacuated. We did it after.
Exactly. And I think, this is the other benefit about the smaller photo cons is you've got, you'd have to jump through hoops to try and get that sort of permission at a large event, and then they'd probably say no because of the amount of people and the venue. So there's more pluses again. I mean, Fantasy Forest as well is another one. I'm not quite sure what category you'd put that under really, because it's not a photo con, but it's not a mainstream con or a small con. It
took us a while to figure out where to put it, didn't it?
It kind of feels almost like a LARP event.
That's what I was saying. It was like more of a LARPing style-esque.
And I think that's kind of what they market themselves. I've not been to Fantasy Forest yet, but it's definitely one that I'd like to go to.
It's
at some
good.
Point, maybe next year.
It's good. But it's not just like this time they had like an apocalypse area as well.
Really?
Yeah. So there's like where there's literally like a Mad Max zone sort of thing.
Oh, fucking hell.
And they had Wicker Man burning and stuff there too, didn't they?
They have that every year, and then they have like a steampunk section. This year was a lot bigger. Yeah. This year was like double the size. It was huge. And they go
because it's getting more popular.
Yeah, and they'd open the castle up this time. Like years before, you couldn't go in the castle, and then this time it was involved in your ticket that you could use the castle for photos and everything like that.
You actually go in the castle this time? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Darren's Darren's got it planned now. He's doing it next year.
If they're going to do I've always had a massive interest. I don't know if any of you follow like Wasteland Warriors on Instagram. I absolutely fucking love their stuff, and some of their events are just insane. It's just like a full-on Mad Max type event. It's awesome. So that's like right up my street, really. I always thought Fantasy Forest was more purely like fantasy based, hence the name. But that's really piqued my interest, actually.
Yeah, they definitely spread out more, definitely from the first time, because I attended the first one, literally the first ever one they did, and it's just every year got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Sounds awesome.
I think the first one they were very like just medieval fantasy, and then as they've got bigger, they thought, well, we've got to branch out a bit now. So the other stuff has started to come into it.
Nice. Just going back to some of the mainstream cons, have any of you guys ever been to Hyper Japan?
Yes.
Because didn't they? I'm not sure what year it was. A year or two ago, didn't they move it to Battersea for a year?
Yeah, they did. That was the one I didn't go to. I only heard bad things.
Everyone that I spoke to that said they did go to that one seemed to think it was a far better venue, but I think they moved it back.
Really?
They've moved it back.
It's Olympia.
It's a really, really nice venue. I'm not sure why they moved it to there and then moved it back, but a few people that I spoke to that went said it was a really, really nice venue.
Well, I know Olympia had a thing recently because they're doing the whole renovation bit and pieces because they used to do like the International Horse Show at Olympia and they moved that to the XL. Not last year, the year before. So it could be whatever they were doing there. They might not have been able to have the space for it, maybe.
Yeah, because a lot of it wasn't utilised during LFCC when I went.
Right. I've never been to LFCC. It doesn't appeal to me from people that I've spoke to. from a photographer's perspective, it doesn't really appeal to me.
It's not worth it. From a photographer point of view, it's not worth it.
I was there for 2 hours, and no, not worth it.
You didn't want to come and stay to Saturday to see us lot.
The thing is, I had the creator pass. I was there. I had the pass for the whole weekend, but it just wasn't.
There's not enough there for a weekend pass, in my opinion. I was there for the day, and I was done within half hour, 40 minutes. I kind of really stuck around because I was going to go see one of the acts that was there, and their thing was at the end of the day. But other than that, I just chilled and hanged out with a load of people and a load of friends. That was it.
Yeah, I was very jealous about who you got to see. Hate you.
You could have paid to see it.
Yeah, meats aren't really my thing.
No, but when there's certain meats aren't really my thing. But when there's certain people, then I'm like, I have to.
I'm the same. I'm the same. It's like it's got to be a specific person. Literally, like the Monopoly events that I've been to, I've only ever been to Monopoly for a guest. I've never been for the con.
Yeah.
Like the one at Manchester, it's at Bowlers. I think the venue, to be honest, is not good. It's just a warehouse, and
no.
There's hardly anything in there. But I've only ever been for the guests.
Megacon Manchester for me. Out of those two events that are on in the same weekend, Megacon Manchester is in fact,
yeah.
Megacon Manchester is probably fast becoming, maybe, I don't know, bordering on being my favourite mainstream con in the calendar. I love the venue.
I really enjoyed it.
I love the location. It is a great location. I mean,
you weren't there long enough.
It's great.
Manchester
Central,
exactly.
Manchester Central as a venue is fantastic. But just the vibe of that event, it's the second time I've been now this year. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be on a panel as well, which was quite cool. That was a new experience for me. So, again, thanks to Megacon for asking me to, come along and be a part of that. It was a really cool thing to do. But yeah, it's just a really great chilled vibe. It's got a nice balance, I feel, of stalls and guests and things to see and do. It's not too overcrowded. You can still move and get around. The food bits are like separate and out in a separate hall, which is cool. You can go and sit down and chill and have your food. And one of the things I really like about that event is they have a section specifically where people can sit down, and it's a no photo area. So people can go and sit, eat their food, and there's signs up saying, no photos, which is a really great thing to kind of highlight.
And I saw it being enforced.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how many times do you see cosplayers sitting down at like MCM London and then being hassled for photos? Like, they're having food, for fuck's sake. Just leave them alone. Give them 10 minutes themselves. Yeah.
When Ed was having the bottle of water and someone was coming and harassing her.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I was. I think I'd got on
board.
I think she was with definitely with Nats, but I think she was with Darren as well, maybe.
Yeah, she was.
Well, that's brave.
And I just turned around and said, "Can you please wait?" Simple.
Right. I didn't know that. But I've had it at MCM before, literally. And some of the suits that I've done aren't the easiest, and when you want to get out of it, just have them in it. The worst one I've done was
like warm weather as well.
Oh, the worst one I did was Adam Warlock. Literally, like, I was in full gold paint, full gold armor, and everything. And it was literally like I just sat down. I was dehydrating so much.
Yeah, you don't need it. You don't need it.
Straight away.
I mean, I've done it when I've cosplayed as well at like MCM, where I've done Cap and Mando Cap version and stuff like that, and I've just sat down with some food, and someone's like, "Oh, you look really good. Can I get a photo?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure, why not? I'll just get dressed again. Hang on."
Yeah, you don't want to say no though, do you? It's like you feel bad, like being no. Like, yeah.
And they always come up so apologetic. A lot of the time they come up really apologetic about it. I mean, from my experience, I haven't done it as much as you have, Troy, but from my experience with it, I've always had, oh, I'm really, really sorry to bother you sort of thing with it. And it's just like, I actually being quite nice about it. So yeah, I'll post for a photo.
Sometimes the same from a photographer perspective though as well. Like sometimes I'll just be sat down having a sandwich or something, and a cosplayer will come over and go, "Oh, are you taking photos at the moment?" And I'm inside I'm thinking, well, clearly I'm not, because I'm sat here with a sandwich in my hand.
Yeah, goodbye.
But I mean, I had it, I think, once at Birmingham when I wasn't eating, but I was literally, most of my gear was packed away. I was sort of sat chilling out, chatting to Pete Cosplay by Pedro, I think, in the little offshoot bit and in the gallery upstairs. And I think it was a very new young cosplayer came up, said, "Oh, are you taking photos? How could you tell me how I go about getting photos from photographers?" And I was like, you know what, I was done for the day, but I really don't want this person to have a negative experience, particularly at a mainstream con. So I was like, we're all photographers in here. You just ask, if a photographer's available, they will take photos. I said, but don't be put off if they do say no. I said, I was ready to pack up, but I really like your cosplay. I'm happy to take some photos of you. And she was over the moon. And I made a point of editing the shots quite early on in my editing workflow and sent her the shots, and she was like absolutely blown away and over the moon. And I just didn't, so sometimes it is worth sort of going that little extra mile, even if you're having a break, particularly if it's a new cosplayer and you feel they're a little bit young and not used to the rules. Because the first thing she said to me was, "How much do I have to pay?" And I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. Never ever pay for photos at con, or never pay for a slot at con. If someone, you want someone to do extra edits or whatever, fine, maybe, but photos within the event, absolutely not.
This happened at the Monopoly Manchester event. I put some messages in our talk chat because a cosplayer who I hadn't shot at the time, but I chatted to, it was his first time like cosplaying on his own and stuff, and having photos taken. And the talk had basically sent him a message with like a link to the get them on the website or whatever. And it basically was saying, "Oh, you've got to pay to have like the high res, unwatermarked, all this stuff." But it was hidden, the fact you could just have free photos.
Yeah.
And
it probably is worth saying that I've been asked this before as well from people that have come to the UK from overseas, and it's the first con they've been to in the UK. Because at a lot of overseas cons, that is the norm, particularly in like US cons and stuff.
Yeah, if we go to the US, we can make our plane fare back. If they come here, it doesn't work that way.
You say that. Some cosplayers charge in the US as well, though. So, it's a completely different culture over there. I've never been to a US con. You've been. Which con was it that you went to, Troy?
I went to WonderCon in
WonderCon.
California.
Is that the one near LA?
Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah. So I didn't actually. We did shoots and stuff. I think it helped that we had friends already there who lived there. They were already there, so one of their friends was a photographer who offered to shoot and that. But then other photographers did shoot me, and I never paid for one shoot.
No,
the whole time.
I think it's not like a given thing that everyone charges, but I think it is a bit because I think a lot of the cons over there still have rules that you shouldn't. But it's a lot more relaxed, so more people do.
Yeah, I mean,
this is always. I really want to do a US con, and I'm a bit torn between WonderCon and DragonCon. I was talking to Hugo about it yesterday, and he said for photos, he thinks WonderCon is a better bet, and that was kind of where I was. DragonCon.
I want to do DragonCon. I've got loads of friends who attend it. It's a big one for me.
Hugo said to me that DragonCon is better from an enjoy a con perspective, but not as good from a photo perspective.
So we're doing.
I know Carlos
We are doing
at the
Dragon
minute.
next year. That's the one we're saving up for.
Yeah.
So we've literally that's the next one we're doing. But if we're going on WonderCon, literally it's more of an MCM like sort of experience. But I think every single aspect of the entire convention, MCM should learn from. Because it was
Really?
just leaps and bounds so much better. From literally
Really?
dot getting there, you get your tickets and everything the day before.
Wow.
And we
Nice.
had literally picked up our tickets within 5 minutes. Literally walked into a huge entire hall, about the size of the MCM hall, and picked the tickets up, then went back and just relaxed. The next day...
We see, this is what I was going to say. I mean, Megacon actually do something very similar. So Megacon have an entire hall just for, you go in, you queue up, you get your tickets, you come out of that hall, and then you go round to the con. And every time I go to a Megacon event and get my tickets, it's seamless. It seems like minutes. You don't have to like queue and then go wait and go through up barriers. It does seem like a much better way of doing it.
But then to actually get into the con, last time it was a bit different because I got creator for MCM, so you could go in the other entrance. But you only used to go as general, you used to go around the side, queue up for like 40 minutes or something. We got to WonderCon, like general entry, got to the entrance, got my props checked, which again is so much better than MCM. They weren't stupid
At least
idiots about
MCM
it.
checks your props.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't know this. Today's con was interesting.
We'll come back to that in a minute, actually.
Yeah, but we literally got to the point. The staff were friendly as well. They literally checked it out. So I was in Daredevil, so they checked my billy clubs. Were like, "Oh, these are 3D printed. They're absolutely fine. Don't worry about it." Walked in, and then 30 seconds we're in the con. That's it. The whole thing was so much better. On the hotels thing, I know we were obviously on about the prices and everything and all that. One of the problems I've got with MCM at the minute is that, like the Novotel, if you're not in there at a certain time, you are not getting in there. So literally, we're planning like Saturday night that, right, we're going to go and get changed at this time. We're going to get to the Novotel for this time, so we're actually in there.
Yeah. Because if you're not in by like 7:30 on the Saturday at Novotel, you've got no chance.
They're not getting in.
Yeah.
And like when we were there at WonderCon, they actually call it LobbyCon. Because when the con closes there, there's Marriott and Hilton. And literally, it just carries on. It's just, I mean,
to be fair, one of the things I will say about the Novotel for MCM London, though, is a lot of people have bought this on themselves. So, looking at it this way from a business perspective, if you own a hotel and you've got 300 cosplayers going in an evening, they're all sitting there bringing their own drinks, ordering pizza and takeaway from elsewhere and having it delivered, and they're sitting in your space, not spending a penny in there, then generally you're going to get probably a bit pissed off about that and try and do something to restrict it, because they're not making any money off you. And also, that hotel isn't exclusively for Comic-Con guests, so you're upsetting other guests at the same time. Whereas I think certainly I think for DragonCon, like the Hilton there, I think is exclusively for the con goers.
It's actually five, Darren. There's actually 5 hotels at DragonCon. Really? It's 5, wow. Yeah. So we're obviously planning it at the minute. We're planning it at the minute. So on the MCM thing about that, we did the same thing in America. They were literally like, I asked the staff, like, are we all right to order takeaway? They were like, yeah, fine. Do what you want. So it was the same sort of thing, bigger area.
If it's hotels that are organised for the con, then I suppose that's a bit different.
But this was at WonderCon.
With
WonderCon.
Novotel has kind of just been. So Novotel has just been kind of adopted. By the cosplayers as the unofficial gathering place.
None of us like to go to the bar. What's the pub called?
Fox.
That's it. None of us like to go to the Fox as well. The newbies hang out.
So from what we can gather from us
you don't wanna
looking
get
at
date
it,
raped, that's why.
DragonCon is 5 hotels. Literally, the con takes place
Wow.
within the 5 hotels, and each one has a different
Amazing.
aspect of the con at these hotels. So there's the Hilton,
Wow.
Marriott, Westin, and there's another one. I can't remember the name. I think it's either 4
See,
or
the fact
5,
that it's
and the cons are in the hotels.
Yeah, but would that be
in
because
LA as well?
that's also the cultural difference as well. I'm guessing with the States,
Yeah.
because like you take like Vegas for example, you got like the Strip and stuff like that. A lot of the hotels are all that are themed and purposely there for them sort of thing. So I'm wondering if because they're doing the WonderCon there, that the con and the hotels they probably all get together and to plan what's going on and have that
and
agreement.
from memory, one of the hotels specifically is the spicy one.
Yeah.
Because DragonCon has the whole spicy cosplay area.
Yeah.
There is, yes, there is.
Yeah,
There is
no,
literally.
it's really cool. That's why Troy's going.
Other than like forget price of flights, what was the kind of ballpark cost for WonderCon for like hotels and things like that for when you went?
For the hotels, we obviously went for a proper like holiday, so we didn't just go to the con.
Yeah, of course. If you go to America, you've got to add some time on.
Yeah. I think it was about $900 for the 10 days.
And how long did you go for?
10 days.
10 days.
10 days. That's all right, actually.
And then this is the surprising part. The actual con for 3 days, I think it was about 80 quid. Maybe.
Wow. New York and San Diego are a lot more than that, I think, for the con.
They're a lot more. DragonCon is really cheap.
Yeah.
DragonCon is dirt cheap. For 5 days, it's ridiculously cheap. I can't remember what they said it was, but it is literally like paying for maybe
it's $160 for 5 days. So it's like it's like 20 quid a day for tickets.
Wow,
it's so cheap.
That's dirt cheap.
How much is the Japan con you looked at?
About 16 quid, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that being super cheap.
Mm.
We just enjoyed every
while we're there.
Yeah, I mean, in December as well, that's a bit of a strange time for it, but
I wonder if it's because
like was better.
Just I wonder if everything was better. Yeah. I'm wondering if it's because if they are.
Sorry. Go on.
All good, mate. All good. I'm just wondering because it's like if there are all these hotels and everything like that together, and you've got the tickets slightly cheaper, you're obviously going to spend more money in the venue, for food, whatnot, and everything else that you're going to spend it within there. And if they're all sort of interconnected for the con, maybe that's how they can make the pricing a little bit cheaper, I guess.
Yeah. So from what I can gather is that two of the hotels, it's either 2 or 1, are not connected, but they are still part of it. Then there's 3. I think it's Hilton, Marriott, I can't remember the last one, are connected by 3 sky bridges. Yes, it might be. Are connected by sky bridges. So they are literally like the main centre of the whole thing. There's literally just 3 in a row with sky bridges across the way. So they just take over the entire place, really.
I really do want to do a US con, and I think it's going to either be...
Let's do DragonCon in September next year.
I really want to do WonderCon because it's in LA.
I want to do New York Con because it's in New York and I've never been.
I really wanted to do New York, and then I looked at New York and everything I heard about New York Comic Con from a photographer perspective, from someone that's traveling from overseas, everything was like, it's probably not worth it just for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is kind of the one thing that worries me about even WonderCon and DragonCon, because I don't know anyone over there. I only really know one photographer in the US I'm quite friendly with. So
do DragonCon with me. I know loads of people that do DragonCon. I know less people that do WonderCon.
By the end of this podcast, Darren would have booked tickets to DragonCon in the US. Stay tuned.
So will you.
DragonCon's not really good fun. I'm kind of like waiting.
How about if we book tickets for her too?
She'll love it. She'll still kill me, but she'll love it.
I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what Carlos produces. I know Carlos did post on his stories the other day that I think he's feeling a bit burnt out. Carlos is events wise and photography wise, which is fair. We all go through that phase. But I am, Carlos is a fantastic cosplay photographer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he produces while he's out there. Even if he says he's not at his best, I know that he's still going to produce some like absolute fire. So I really am looking forward to seeing what he creates over there. And I'm seeing, because obviously there's quite a few people from the UK over there this time. Obviously Carlos is out there. A couple of the people from Spores. So
Abby and Nika.
Nika and Abby are both out there. Ugo's out there. Uncanny Annie's out there. So yeah, there's quite a few gone over. So I'm looking
My
forward to
brain's not
seeing.
working. Lego Batman.
Mike.
Mike's there.
Mike.
Oh, I just
Mike,
thought you were
Mike's
just
always
shouting
there.
out words.
No,
Yeah,
I had very specific meaning. I knew that Troy would get it.
I just thought,
Yeah,
is
so
David
no,
just
'cause
shouting
I
out
knew-
random things?
I knew it was Mike because I'm good friends with Mike. Mike's one of the ones who's like sort of helping us like for plan for next year. So he helped us with WonderCon and bits like that. So it is handy to have people out there. And then obviously we know people who live there. So we knew the two Brits. I knew Dan Namor Cosplay, Nick Fox. We knew people who lived there who literally that is their con. So we could literally message them and go, where should we book? What do we do? And they just essay like, this is what you do. So it is handy.
I know. Lisa Lovegood Cosplay, she's out there as well, because I know she's Lisa and Abby and Nika are all doing the vampires
Van Helsing.
from, is it Van Helsing?
Nice. Yeah.
They look absolutely
That's cool.
big. Yeah, in fact, I've just seen a story of theirs. They look absolutely awesome.
I'm already planning what I'm
really
taking for
looking
next
forward
year.
to seeing- Say again?
Literally already planning what I'm taking for next year.
Do you want to let
Already.
us know? Or?
Or is this going to be wait till next year?
No, so I like everyone takes loads, don't they? So I'm planning on taking this guy. Obviously, that's going to go with me. Probably one of the Supermans that I end up doing. I don't know which one it'd be yet. I think I'm going to continue on from when we finish our shoot bits we've got planned, and do a bit of maintenance and then do the Spartan out there. I think I want to do my 300.
Well, no, because if I come out there, you can do that other cosplay.
Oh god, yeah, flipping hell in 30-odd degree heat.
It's sweatproof.
Oh god, and then there's another one that I want to keep a little bit under wraps. It's a group potentially with a few of them that could be really funny because by the sounds of it, DragonCon, although like Nika and Abby and them look incredible in the stuff they've done like really top end ones. Some people do just do really funny, silly ones as well.
Well, why not?
Yeah. This group that we've spoken about, I've spoken to Chris, Cosplay Shinobi, about it. Could be really funny and really fun. So yeah, I'm already literally like, what am I taking next year? I've just got to figure out packing it all as well.
So Darren, I'm going to say this to you and be unprepared for Nats to murder me.
Just a Friday night then.
Yeah. So flights are about 525.
Really?
DragonCon?
Flight from Gatwick.
Is that connecting or direct?
Direct.
Really? Because we looked today and it was like 700 odd. But you can't get the dates yet. You can't get the dates for next year yet. They're not up.
When is it?
It's literally this weekend.
Well, it should be. If it's this weekend, you should be able to look at dates.
Yeah, or thereabouts. Yeah.
You can't
You can look thereabouts, but they're not up yet.
You can if you text your friend who is head of an airline company.
Oh, there we go. There's the caveat for that
He always
one.
knows somebody, doesn't he?
He's always got someone.
What did you photograph him in?
Huh?
What did you photograph him in?
No, nothing. I've never photographed him or his husband.
Exactly.
What
Nothing.
blackmail
Yeah,
have you got on
nothing.
on them?
No, nothing. We're just good friends. So I just texted him asking.
So, moving on from US cons then.
I met South African cons.
Well, we'll come on to that. European cons and photo cons. So, I'm not massively aware of a lot of the medium-sized sort of mainstream type. I know there's Dokumi in Germany, which seems to be that actually looks like a really cool event. I've never been. I know people that have, and it looks really cool. Like the areas around it for photographs seem really, really cool.
I've always seen beautiful photos come out of that area.
And that is it. Is it Dusseldorf? That one, I'm sure it is, isn't it? So that's really cool. And then another one that I've just become aware of is one called Concrunch, and that's in Prague, and that happened, I think it was last weekend.
Okay.
And there's a Instagram profile that I follow called Black Box Music Club, and they've got like a studio type thing, pop-up photo studio, and they created like a full-on cyberpunk set at Concrunch for people to book and use. And honestly, I have never seen anything like it in my life. It was insane. I would have flown out there just to shoot at that set. It was absolutely next level.
That good, eh?
It's just unbelievable. It really was. But yeah, that's in Prague, and from what I gather, it's like a cross between a medium-sized event and a photo con. Yeah, I didn't really know anything about it until I saw Black Box post on their stories that they were going to be there a few days before.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm really into that. So yeah, that's another one that's on agenda. But I mean, photo cons in Europe, there's a few now. There's Pixelmania in Poland, which I think is possibly one of the ones that's been going the longest. I mean, you've got things like VNCon as well, which is basically like I don't know. I think I'd probably be a bit old for VNCon because it just seems like a load of young people shooting in swimming pools, which is cool and all, but I just don't look very good in speedos.
Declan's there.
In the speedos.
Do you own speedos?
Yeah, of course you do.
I never worn them.
That does not surprise me. I mean, I feel like out of all of us, Troy would probably be the most at home at VNCon. He's got the body for it. But
he's basically worn speedos as a Spartan, but they're made of leather.
He pretty much wore speedos as his Weapon X. No, that was just boxer shorts.
Yeah,
that was just boxer shorts.
I did actually want to do at some point. I want to do the Daniel Craig beach scene.
Nice.
Go down to Bournemouth.
Hey Troy, how do you feel about white hair wig?
What?
A white hair wig?
Long white hair wig.
Trying to think of the character.
I'm thinking either Witcher or House of the Dragons.
I was thinking Witcher.
No, neither. Witcher bath scene I've already got planned with Jordan and Lucy, so that one unfortunately is already taken. Magneto, X-Men 97, the best scene.
Strapped up scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Why not? So
I love it.
Troy, that Bond scene coming out the sea, I have the perfect event for that. So one that I want to go to in Italy next year. You're laughing before even. No, not Volta. Not Volta. Okay. There's no beach. Declan's going to laugh here because he laughs every time I say it.
He laughs anyway. Doesn't matter what.
No. You'll understand why.
It's a cosplay event called Rimini. It's an event. Stop laughing.
If that's your thing, rimming me.
Nobody's doing that. Anyway.
Yeah, what did you come out of the water? Well, Rimini. What? No. We asked when you came out of the water, not what you were up to.
Where were you when Darren took that
It's
photo?
an event set in Rimini, in Italy. It's on the coast. I'm just going to go. It's an event in Italy. So it's based on the coast. It's a really cool event. A lot of people shoot on the beach. And the beach around there is quite cool. So next year, around about July time, Troy, we're going to Italy to this event. Yeah. You're paying. But no, I from my time at Volta, which I'll come on to in a little while, from some of the cosplayers that I met there, we talk quite a bit online now, and some of them went to this event as well.
What's it called?
So yeah, I've got a bit of an insight. It looks really, really cool. Some of the photos that I've seen come back from there are like insane, really amazing quality. So it's definitely one that I'd like to go to.
Feel as though if I went out there, I feel as if I
again,
I'd have to take my Spartan stuff. I feel as if I went to Italy.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd have to take it.
But I think Volta as well. Volta would be perfect for your Spartan.
Get your application in.
I mean, some of the locations for Volta.
Application's open yet?
Not yet. No, probably later this year. But I know obviously Volta is being a PhotoCon. It's a little bit more exclusive, similar to Pixelmania. So you do have to register. You do have to get accepted. I mean, honestly, when I registered last year, I did not think I would get accepted. You have to submit a portfolio of images. And I just went with images that I felt best represented me and my style of photography. Rather than trying to choose what I thought they might. Say again, mate?
Out of interest, what did you go with for your application? Because I'm thinking you went probably cyberpunk. I'm right in that.
No. Let me pull up I think I've still got the portfolio saved on my Dropbox.
You do, because you sent it to me.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Volta submission. Here we go.
Because you were showing me over some very expensive beer that I'm still not forgiving you for.
So I did submit a couple of cyberpunk ones. So one of the ones of Dex, as he's Edron as David from Manchester Megacon last year.
Yeah.
And then one of Zoe as her Edron as Lucy cosplay from Magna last year. And then the rest was a selection.
Which photo you mean, yeah.
Yeah, so there was one that I did at Cos Expo last year. That was a shot of Nightmare in the Woods with like blue smoke bombs. One from a Harlequin shoot. A DVA shoot of Bunny. One of the Mad Max ones I did with Kiefer. One of the John Wick ones I did with Terry. So at the time, I selected a range of images that I felt best represented me and where I was with my style at the time. And I really didn't think I'd get accepted, but I wanted to be honest and true with my submissions because I wanted to, if I was going to be accepted or turned down, I wanted to be accepted or turned down on my own merits. And if I wasn't accepted, then I would know that I needed to sort of work on my style of images. And I got the email back, I think it was sometime in December, and I was just like, shit, what? I've been accepted. And I think there was 4 UK cosplay togs there. So myself, Amy Acoustica Tog, Carlos, and Jonathan Chan, satin dress. And it was really great. So once you get accepted, they put your portfolio and profile on their website, and then it just starts. You start contacting cosplayers, and they start contacting you, and you start booking shoots. It's very, very different to the UK. So pretty much, every shoot I did was pre-booked in advance, and people do get booked up quite quickly. But I had cosplayers messaging me that I thought I would have no chance of shooting with. And I was honest. I said, why do you want to shoot with me? And they said, because your style on your portfolio stands out from the other photographers. And it's because in Europe, I think, on the Europe cosplay scene, they have a very different style of shooting and a very different look. So it was nice to be selected on my style of images and the way I shoot and the way I like things. But Volta itself is an extremely well-run event. What Marco has put together with his team is just like nothing I've seen in the UK. As a director of Secret Con, I can see areas of how he arranges his events that I really want to take on board, and we already have. And things that we want to change. It's just so slick, so well done. The locations are just absolutely stunning. It's in a beautiful area of Italy anyway. The Lombardy region.
Locations are stunning.
It's just so many to choose from as well. So one of the busiest was the FAIS Abandoned Factory. That was a really popular location, but still, you're never worrying about getting people in the back of your shots. Not once. It's just really, really cool. And for what I've seen of Pixelmania in Poland, that's a sort of slightly similar thing. Excuse me. I believe the one in Poland is a bit more spread out. But again, some of the locations just look absolutely stunning. And another one, which I didn't know about until I went to Volta, is one called Focus Cosplay, which is in central France. And I only got to hear about this one really because three of the cosplayers that I shot with are actually part of running this event. So that's one that I definitely want to attend. I think next year. I think it's September time. I'm not sure. But it's a much smaller event, so they have a quite a reduced capacity there. But again, it's just another European photocon that just looks absolutely fantastic. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to get all this annual leave for all my events next year. But
I was going to say, do we need to start actually pulling in on the stuff we want to be shooting and events doing? Be able to have the time off for this stuff.
I think so. But yeah, it's just, have any of you guys ever been to any European events?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Not
well,
yet.
yes. Like I said, I've done, Pro Tour Magic Con.
Right.
That was Amsterdam, which was like a convention, but that wasn't cosplay focused. I took my camera, took some photos.
Yeah.
I was there mainly to play Magic the Gathering. I was mainly there for the event content.
Like I say, for Volta, I think my entire spend, I totted up absolutely everything. So the central area for Volta is in an area called Volta Mantanova. I think I said that right. And then it kind of like the locations are sort of spread out from around there. I stayed in an area sort of not too far from there that had got a couple of shoot locations. Religio sul Mincio. I probably completely murdered that pronunciation. But the town, absolutely fucking stunning. I've never seen anything so beautiful in my life. Apart from my other half, thought I'd probably better get that bit in. But we stayed in an apartment there. So there was myself, my assistant, and satin dress. Jonathan stayed with us as well. And I think the apartment from Thursday to Monday was like 780 quid. It's about an hour drive from Bergamo Airport.
Yeah.
So you just hire a car, drive there, happy days. And then we drove back to Bergamo on the Monday. stayed a night in Bergamo as well, and then flew back on the Tuesday,
Nice.
including all my food, drink, accommodation, flights, car hire, fuel. My trip was there or thereabouts a grand from Thursday to Tuesday.
Still works out cheaper than a conventional con in London, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It does now, doesn't it?
I had, I would quite happily, open and honestly now, I would quite happily do 2 or 3 of them in a year rather than do any UK cons. If it wasn't for the networking and social aspect that I get from the UK cons and enjoy so much.
Yeah.
That is one thing about it. Was great to meet new people. It was also cool at Volta to meet, and have chats with people that I knew, like Carlos and Amy and Jonathan. But and also a photographer from Europe that I speak to called Valentine Pix. Great guy, shoots some amazing content. But it was great to meet some new people as well, and a lot of the cosplayers that I'd shot with, and others that I'd chatted with that I didn't get to shoot with. That the whole vibe was so friendly. But the one of the things I love so much about UK cons is, particularly like MCM, is probably like the main one that you can just go to and meet. You're going to see most people.
Yeah.
And the whole sort of camaraderie and meeting with friends, both during the event, during the day and after, it's become almost more of a
social
networking event for me. Yeah, and I think that's the same with a lot of the UK cons now. They become more sort of social and networking events than taking photos. Particularly, like Volta has given me so much content to post over. I mean, let's have a look. I don't think I've posted anywhere near a half of the stuff that I've shot that I've edited that is post worthy. I mean, I've got a folder set up here that I call favourites still to post from Volta. And these are what I call the absolute pinnacle of what I shot through that weekend.
Yeah.
And I still have 25 images that are in my absolute must post that I haven't posted yet from Volta.
Yeah. I think that could be the same thing. Like, I've got so much content still left from Secret Cons from the whole of this year, not just the last one, but from Bunker, Prison, what you name it. I've got content there that could probably last me the whole of next year, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing about photo cons now, is that it's meaning that the pressure is off me to shoot at the mainstream ones, which means I can enjoy the event. And like, I don't know, it's kind of got me seeing some of the mainstream events in a completely different light. I now use them for a different purpose.
Yeah.
So I don't feel the pressure to shoot anymore. I do still take my camera gear. I do still shoot, but I'm a lot more focused on what I shoot. I shoot a lot less. I shoot with less people, unfortunately, but there's still enough photographers there that, to go around. It just means I can concentrate on having fun and just going to the event for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I think this is one of the things at photo cons, whether it be in the UK or overseas, I think, it's one of the things it's introduced is it's given us that opportunity to create that mass content of a high quality, that just a few of those throughout the year will give us our main sort of bread and butter content, if you like.
I think it's even just main bread and butter content. I think a lot of stuff that you can do, because you can get so much more creative, like I said earlier, in these certain things. Is a good collaboration with photographers and cosplayers. It's also working with people who maybe haven't done a lot of posing or a lot of cosplay, and it gets their confidence up and whatnot. So for whatever reason, they get some high quality images back of themselves in cosplay that they've spent months potentially making, or even if they've bought it. But yet again, I feel like there's a little bit special in a sense because it's not just a generic grey wall, tree, Nova hotel sign.
It goes back to the thing that I said with that I now plan stuff around going to stuff like that. Like the whole the Born Again suit. Literally knew the date I wanted it was for Secret Con at the prison because I knew who I wanted to shoot with for that suit. Get them out. I'd literally messaged Darren and said, "Can we shoot this so I can begin the first reveal image of this suit?" Because I've been working on it with a company and my own stuff for like 6 months. And I was like, I know that that's the best place I'm going to get this content for these photos. And I've still never posted all of them. I've still got photos from Secret Con. I've still got some to come back. I've still not received them all yet. So I literally plan around that.
Well, this is the other thing as well. So at like mainstream cons, I've really cut back the amount I shoot in a set with any particular cosplayer. So now at a mainstream con, I will only do a small set so I can send them 3 to 5 maximum images back. And that's because they'll shoot with so many photographers throughout the day that by the time either me or the cosplayer has posted a couple of images from that set, people are bored of it, so the engagement drops. So you then end up with a load of wasted images that you're probably never going to post. But the photo cons, it's almost like doing a bunch of outer con shoots, and every photographer that shoots with that cosplayer, by and large, will shoot something quite different. So even though a cosplayer might be in the same cosplay all day and shoot with 5 photographers, each set will be different because they'll choose a different part of the location, different part of the venue, and then add their own style. So, like I say, it's almost like doing like 5 or 6 or sometimes more outer con shoots in a day, and I think that's why it produces so much high quality content.
I think you're definitely right on that because, again, I know I've mentioned this suit because that was like what you said. I wore that the whole day because I knew that's what I wanted to get. And the 3 that spring to mind is your photos we did in the corridors, which we tried to get the vibe of what you see in the show with the corridors and everything like that. I then shot with Dan Fear, and I literally said to him, I think the location we're in, we try to get the vibe from season 2 where he's coming down the stairs and the only light that is on him is the escape light, which is blinking red. So he just blasted red light at me and added a tiny bit of purple. And then the other one is Phoenix. Is it Phoenix Libra? The second part.
Yeah, Richard Orme, I think, is it?
Yes, Rich. We went on the spiral staircase with Paul.
Yeah,
and it was so confined for both of us that it looked like a struggle. And he gave it the green from the hallway scene from the season 1. There were so many aspects you can do.
Yeah.
And they all look totally
different. Was that when I then shot you guys in the bathroom?
Yes. Again, we had the full bright colours that time. We had the whites in the background, so the contrasted colours.
That
again,
was
totally
their
different.
choice, not me. Just to be aware.
No judgment. No, not at all.
But again, the contrast. You can get another contrast. Your images look totally different to Darren's images because of the location of the place. Because of the contrast of the location.
The ones we shot of Chloe, like, I posted the first one, which really annoyed him, but he posted another one, and then he put a preview of one in our group chat, and I was like, oh shit. He was like, what? I said, that's how I edited that image. I now need to go back and re-edit my image. Now I feel like a screenshot up to be like, look, I'm not joking. I'm legit.
Declan, you got the Fall Guy one out really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was again to annoy Darren.
Yeah. I mean, but to be fair, even though we'll shoot sometimes side by side, literally side by side, we still edit slightly different.
Mm.
Even if I like the scene for the two of us, we've still got a slightly different style. So
yeah, we're both dark and moody, but we do have our differences.
Exactly.
And also, we work well talking with each other.
Yeah,
there's not many people I do that with.
I think that's something else worth mentioning as well. Is like collabing or assisting is something that is quite alien to some people, particularly at mainstream events. Although I do that quite a lot of mainstream events now. So Marcus, Man in Black Photography, Andy, the Golden Pie, yourself, Declan, are people that I will also Shalimar Stuff.
Shalimar's amazing. I love Shalimar.
All people that I will happily collab and work with and shoot back to back with at any event. And it's such a refreshing way of working because not only can you help each other and assist each other with lighting, moving things around, holding light stands, etc., you can also bounce ideas off one another. So one person will say one thing and then that will trigger something for someone else and vice versa. And at photocons, particularly like Volta, assistance there is almost like an expected thing.
It's like a must-have
so you can take up to 3 assistants to Volta.
Oh, okay.
And it's encouraged. And cosplayers take assistance, photographers take assistance. I think it's the same for Pixelmania. It's something that we're
3 lighting bitches.
You're 3 lighting bitches.
Can be a very tight space in that bathroom.
It's something that we're. It's something that we're also
trying to shoot earlier.
We need to be very careful for Declan to have assistants at the other one in Italy that we will not name, because that could be seen as quite...
Yeah, well, let's not go there. Moving on. But assistance is something that we're trying to encourage for Secret Con now as well. So we've recently launched helper/assistant tickets, and providing we've got the capacity, we will allow people to buy a helper or an assistant ticket, whether they're a cosplayer that need help getting in and out of costume, or it's a big cosplay, they need a spotter or someone to help them carry things, whether it be a photographer that needs a lighting bitch, or whatever. It's something that we're trying to now encourage, because I myself and a lot of the photographers that have been to cons that encourage it have seen it's such a huge benefit. It really is. Not only from a lugging things around perspective, Declan, I struggle with my back these days with my sciatica, and it's just a real help. Just to sometimes have people, Declan, can you just, carry this up the stairs for me if that's all right? And
I'm just ever telling him to drop stuff and I'll carry it.
It's such a huge help, but also from a creative aspect. To bounce ideas and generate ideas for one another that will then turn into something else. I've created some of my best work from collabing and working with assistants. It really is a great way of working. And I know it's something that cosplayers can really benefit from as well. Not only from having someone else there, I'll say from a safety perspective and look, whatever your name is, so-and-so, that's out of place, you're revealing a bit there or whatever, helping them. Someone that they know and trust to help sort things out on a shoot is just such a huge benefit. I mean, we'll come on to a whole episode of con safety and con etiquette sort of further down the line from here. We've got a whole episode set up about that, but there's just so many benefits for assistants. It's unreal.
And the other thing is, it's really useful when the assistant has a photography background and they understand lighting concepts, they understand that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
Because I will know where to put a light when you tell me the shot you want to do, instead of you having to position a light and then tell me to stay still.
Yeah, exactly.
I think someone commented on it once. They asked me why I was asking you what lens you were shooting with. And it's not because I care about the prestige of your lens. It's if you're shooting on 35mm versus an 85mm or a 50mm, It's how zoomed in you're going to be to how the effect is going to look. Can I be closer to them? Well, yes. If you're at 85, you're going to be closer in. I can have the light closer to the subject. You're at 35. Exactly. I need to be further out, and I might have to move it around.
What do we think we can? I don't know. What do we think we can learn from?
I think it's picking out
US and European cons.
I think it's trying to pick out what would we like. Problem is, though, I'm just trying to think. It's like what would we want to, if we could, sort of pitch something to say. The
don't think we're allowed to say the sun and the sea.
Well, no, I mean that's a bit impossible. But I'm thinking maybe do we talk about like okay, well, if you could, what are the two aspects or two most important aspects from an overseas con that you'd love to see to improve the UK con that was done well overseas, but you'd like to see here for an improvement?
I mean, I know Troy. Obviously, you mentioned a couple of things about WonderCon and some of the things like the queuing, the tickets. What else do you think you would like to see from WonderCon at something like MCM, Megacon?
I think the actual con floor as well was a lot more variety.
Well, I was going to ask about that actually, because obviously from we're all used to like MCM, like Funko Pop stands and a lot of the mainstream, but there's also a lot of, I think I find from a lot of mainstream UK events, there's a lot of repetitive stalls. Obviously, you get your Artist Alley and things like that, which is probably my favourite part of the con halls at MCM. The Artist Alley is great, but what's it like? Say like what WonderCon? How's it different?
So, for me, I think MCM, and there's nothing wrong with the fact that it's there. I feel as though MCM has gone too heavy, full on just anime and Funko Pops.
Right.
I'd feel as though there's obviously a fandom for anime, and it should be there. There obviously should be a fandom for Funko Pops, but it seems that they've also, in exchange for that, got rid of other stuff rather than bringing that in as well.
Yeah.
But they've gone too heavy on a couple of niches, and that's their focus. Exactly. Like it's been that instead of mixing that bag up a little bit.
Yeah, mine is not anime. I'm mostly superhero stuff. Most of the Marvel, DC, independent superhero stuff and bits like that. And at MCM at the minute, there is nothing for me. Like the odd stand, and that's it. So I hardly had to spend any time in there. Well, when we went there,
well, it saves you money.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, to spend on more costumes. But I found when we went there, it was like they just catered for everything. So there was like a section in the entire. The place was huge. It was probably stalls wise not a huge amount bigger than MCM, but the place was just better structured, set out better. The aisles were huge. You could actually walk round. But it seemed like there was a section.
One thing I will say that's one thing I will say about MCM that's been an improvement is, and I think it's probably happened since the pandemic. They wanted to space things out. I think their first one back after the pandemic, they spaced things out, and a lot of people gave them positive feedback on it. But I will say that the space between stalls, it doesn't feel as cramped at MCM as it used to. It's still very, 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 very busy. Like the Saturday of MCM is just insanely busy. But I don't think the layout of XL helps that, because you've got that one down the middle hall down the middle. And if you want to get between the two sides, you've got to go through that. And I know a lot of people complain about that at the Star Wars celebration as well. And I think that's just the nature of the venue, unfortunately.
I was really disappointed with that. I've got to be honest.
Were you?
I was so disappointed with Star Wars Celebration.
I felt they could have used more of the space because I think MCM actually uses more of the space than Star Wars Celebration did, and it felt more compact. But I know when I was talking to the Americans in regards to Celebration, they went, "Oh, this is brilliant! This is so much bigger and more open than it is for them over there." And I was like, "Really? You should try MCM because MCM is jam packed, but bigger,
yeah."
But
interesting.
Back on WonderCon, there was literally. If you split the con into like quadrants, like say squares and that, there was a section for anime. There was a section for action figures. There was the Funko bit where it was like mostly like expensive Funkos. There was actually a massive comic section where they'd literally got like the highest end comics and stuff that were literally $500,000. They just got a section. The artist alley was huge.
See, I think
it didn't feel like an afterthought.
From a con goer perspective, I do kind of like the idea of sections being together. So, if you want a Funko Pop or you want a comic, or you go to that area and you've got a multitude of stalls to choose from that might have what you want, they might not, and you go into it based on, whether they've got what you want or just looking through them all. So I kind of do like that idea, actually.
It would kind of be cool to kind of, and this is going to be very specific to MCM. I would like them to open up the space more. I know they have already opened it up quite a bit, but I'd like to see them open it up almost kind of fully up to where the new build is, because they have so much space there that they could actually make it feel a little bit more less crammed and impact, especially with the numbers going up all the time. That they could actually do this. But I would also, and this is probably going to sound very weird, but I almost kind of want to see more corporate sort of stuff there for sponsorships, like, I don't know, like PlayStation or Xbox or something like that, more in there to do advertisement for either upcoming releases for films like Amazon, because I know in the past they've done it for TV shows and stuff like that, but having more of that sort of stuff
Rings
there
of
in
Power,
that interactive point. Yeah, the whole Rings of Power.
And then they started like having... They've started like in Hasbro's been there a few times now. And they've actually, because I collect Legends, that's what you can literally just see up here. It's all my Legends collection. And they've started using MCM as sometimes announcing new ones. That are coming out, which for me, that's brilliant. That's exactly what it needed. Back onto Star Wars Celebration. I enjoyed it, but again, it was for seeing friends again. I actually found the actual con itself, I was so disappointed. Really disappointed. I'd done the stalls in half a day, and then stands where you could get photos with things, had looked at them, and then I knew I'd got another day there, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I think for the highlight for the celebration for what I did is I spent more time at the live stage than I spent anywhere else. I mean, it wasn't
I didn't even get a
in
panel
regards to no, I didn't get a panel. I just literally went and stood at the live stage because that seems to be where everything was happening, and it was always rammed and crammed. You had to get there like.
I didn't do Celebration. I like Star Wars stuff. Certain elements of Star Wars, but for me, the insane cost of it, because it was crazy expensive.
Yeah, it was massive expensive.
I wasn't enough of a fan to justify the cost.
Might be doing Celebration next year.
Is it Japan next year?
Japan, yeah.
Japan, yeah. It works out well for timings. So we haven't decided yet, but there's still day tickets available. And we're basically thinking of doing maybe 2 weeks, 10 days in Japan. We'll do 1 day at Star Wars Celebration. Our time of people I know. Well, when
is it? When is it next year?
It's April, I think.
I actually felt as well, you don't need more than 1 day as well, because like at MCM, obviously you've got everyone cosplaying different things. You were just seeing Star Wars, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I love Star Wars and I was seeing everything, but I felt as though after a day I'd seen enough of it.
Yeah, I think I get that.
Yeah, that's where me and my other half did a mashup for Star Wars when we were there and we cosplayed, and we took sort of Marvel and Star Wars and put them together, and we got a lot of love for that at the convention because it was something different. Like it was like the last day of the convention, and I did like Mando Cap, and she did like Jedi Carter. So we were completely different things that no one had really seen there. And they were like, "Oh, this is brilliant! What the hell? This is not something common." So we played off of that, and it was really good fun. But
Joe, who would have gone down really well at Star Wars Celebration, I think. Darren, do you remember the Disney Princess Sith Lords?
Yes.
I think that was born after all that, though. That was the problem thing.
Yeah, no, it was. But I'm just saying that if they'd have gone and done it at Star Wars Celebration, that probably would have gone down really well.
Yeah, it would have been.
That would have been brilliant.
Fantastic.
It was a very different cultural vibe, though, at Celebration compared to what we were used to at from an MCM perspective, because I remember walking outside thinking, oh, it's going to be like MCM. I walk outside and cosplayers walked outside and it was dead. I was like,
yeah,
shit.
What's going on?
A lot of people posting. Like Pete, I think Pete and Josh were there, and they said there was just hardly anyone outside.
Yeah.
Carla's got some really nice shots inside, which I thought was cool.
They had a few sort of like some of the halls were open where it allowed people to kind of go in there and have like a quiet space. So I know Pete was in there shooting because he's got a fantastic shot of someone with the Rex helmet with the two different colours. One of my favourite shots of his that he's done.
Nice.
And it's just an absolutely beautiful shot. But he did that in just one of the halls, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, he was. He was just shooting in the halls because he shot me as Luke in the halls.
Nice.
Deck, you're doing it. Is it South African Comic Con?
Yes. So I should be going to South African Comic Con at the end of September. So less than a month
How did
now.
that come about? I didn't even know they had one in South Africa.
So this is their second year of it in Johannesburg. And there's a few British creators going. So the UK cosplay champion, Matthew Berry, I think his name is Matt Berry. He is an absolutely amazing cosplayer that I want to shoot. Yeah, Matthew Berry.
So what's the cost? What? If you don't mind me asking, what's it costing you?
He does all Monster Hunter. He makes all of those fully out of leather. So every cosplay he does, he hand makes and makes every part of it.
Nice.
So he doesn't do a lot of cosplays frequently, but like he fully makes every piece. They're amazing. So
where's it? He's UK based. Crikey,
yeah. So he's UK based.
I've never seen a UK con.
He was at. I met him at the most recent MCM. You know my mate who does the lifting and like balancing stuff.
Yeah.
So he sent me a text. One sec. He sent me a text asking if I could be at like this hall and this stage. I was like, yeah, it's fine, I can do that. Why? And he said, oh, I've got someone who will let me lift something. I'm like, cool, not a problem. And then it turns out it's Matthew Barry, and I'm like, dude, if you drop this, I'm gonna have to like hide in a hole. I can't find the picture now. I'm going, oh, here's. So he's there, like, balancing on his face one of the Monster Hunter swords that Matthew has made at, like, the Cosplay Central stage. I was like, dude, I've wanted to work with this guy for ages. His work is amazing. If you drop this, I'm going to have to, like, block him on all social media and run any time that I see him. So I was like, please don't drop this. Like, no, he wouldn't. But yeah, so we got chatting then. But he also has been invited. He's going over as a judge. But they seem to just like emailed a few of us. And it seems to be linked to the UK one. I don't know if it's Repop or not. I thought it was, but it might not be. But it's linked to some of the people who do the UK cons. So I don't know if they got details and some of us from that. So accommodation is super cheap over there. You're looking at like £15 a night on Airbnb for like luxury.
When is it?
end of September. You want to come?
No, I haven't got the holiday. Otherwise, I'd consider it. So
26th to 29th, I think, because I'm sure I'm flying 25th and 30th.
So yeah, it's not. It doesn't look like Reed Pop. No, it's not got any.
But yeah, so that's
Mogul Media by the looks of it.
No, so they're the web design company. When I googled them, it came up saying they're a web design company based in South Africa, which is what confused me. So I was going to double check. But yeah, so flight's like 600 quid, and I think accommodation was less than 200. So
Nice.
yeah, and then I meet up with a friend when I'm over there, which would be nice. Because we don't get to see each other often. We only ever see each other when we're both working fashion week. And then we get to meet up. She's an old senior artist for MAC Cosmetics, so we get to hang out and do makeup. But yeah, that'll be fun. I'm really excited to see what the scene's like over there. But
yeah, right. So it is right. So Mogul aren't just the people who do the website.
Are they not?
No, it's the trademark is owned by Reed Exhibitions, which I believe is the overhaul.
That's who owns Reed Pop.
Reed Pop.
Okay, there we go. I'm sure it was.
It's used under license by Mogul Media Proprietary Limited. So it is an event run by Mogul. That's why they've got the name at the bottom. But it is trademarked by Reed Exhibitions. So it's kind of linked.
Yeah. So it's
by the looks of it. But yeah, in other news, Matthew Berry, we need to get him to a secret con.
Yeah, I was already going to try and make that conversation. We've been chatting recently. But for him, it would probably need to be more of an outdoors-based one, just because of the nature of his cosplays.
Yeah, so, we'll just tell him to keep an eye on our upcoming announcements for June next year, because we've got a venue that would be really, really cool.
I've already mentioned that, and I've got an email address for you for the place that I was telling you about.
Cool. So I think before we come on to a quick Q&A...
Do you want to talk about how not to run a con today?
Go on. Oh, yeah.
This is today's one.
Yeah.
Well, so today being whatever day it is we're recording it, obviously not when you listen to the podcast.
Yeah. So today I accidentally went to a convention. I had other business for my main work in the premises, and there happened to be a con, so grabbed a ticket. Oh my God, it was not very well organised. So
wow.
People were there who'd paid. See, there's 3 ticket types. You had normal ticket, you had early entrance, and you had VIP. Then you could, but if you had VIP, you were still queuing up in the same bit with everyone else at the same, entry rate and stuff. So people were there complaining that, they paid extra money to then not be able to get in. Then you had, a very lack of security. Now, I know that we complain about MCM checking all of our gear. However, I walked up with my camera gear, prepared to, open it and show them, and, half unzipped, and said, "Do you have any scissors?" And I said, "No." And then they said, "Okay, then you can go in." To which I was then allowed in a con with anything else that I had in my bag.
The weird thing about that is when they did their event at the NEC in Birmingham, they had a policy on their website originally to say that you weren't allowed to take professional camera equipment, which people then approached them about, and they then changed and added something where you had to register if you wanted to be a photographer at their event. But they didn't do that at the London one, which is, and I will say, actually, I've got no issues if an event wants to create a ticket type or a registration process for TOGs. That means we get, say, I don't know, a lanyard that says we're a photographer. I'm still prepared to not say for
I'm
free.
happy to pay for a ticket to tell people I'm a TOG. Especially for some form of vetting for safety.
Exactly. Megacon, I think, have been playing around with the idea for a while. I know they're still looking at it, but they want to get it right. TOGs that have been on the circuit for a while can register. And it's almost like a semi-vetted process whereby you'd have a lanyard and people would know then that you are a photographer that's used to the cosplay circuit. And there is then an element of trust there and safety. And I'm all for that, actually. I know a few people in the past when AnimeCon did it at Birmingham that were a little bit, I don't know if I want to give my details and things like that, but
I'm very, very pro that.
Right. I think that's not necessarily a bad way to go.
No, I would agree with that.
The other thing, like, this is business for them. This is like, I don't give a shit about the next bit, but it's losing their money. So you're accused...
Troy, as a cosplayer, what's your thoughts on that? If you went to a convention that had this process where photographers could register, not just anybody, but photographers that have been on the circuit for a little while, you could be registered. You'd only be given a pass if you met a certain criteria.
On the circuit, sounds like go-go dancers.
Would it give you a bit more of a confidence from a safety aspect?
I think me personally, I've not really ran into any problems. It probably would for someone who's like the person who approached you. You said earlier that you were sat down and they didn't know.
Yeah, like a new person.
Someone like that, it would probably.
Yeah,
I'm quite outgoing. I literally talk to pretty much anyone.
Versed in the cosplay community as well, aren't you? I guess with photographers and that.
Are you trying to say that none of the people in this call have ever made you feel uncomfortable shooting you?
No.
Oh,
We need to shoot. We need to shoot. That was literally one of the things we do need to shoot.
Yeah, we do. It's just like, I love that.
One of the main things I do is I try and shoot Daredevil with everyone. So this needs to be shot with you.
I mean, I've got some Daredevil on my screen with Matt, so you can have a look at some of my work already.
But I think for someone like the person you were talking about, it probably would help.
Yeah.
Because they know maybe who to approach, and maybe there's some sort of thing that if you register, like you did with Volta, I don't know how you'd go about this. Somewhere online, you could have like a section on their page and find the photographers who are registered.
View their work,
like a profile
that'd be really
thing.
Cool, actually.
Yeah, probably a bit like the creator pass process in a way, where you probably, if you're going to go on and get like a photography pass, instead of it being press, but being a photography, you put in your socials. If you have a website, put your website in, bits and pieces like that, because then
I think
they can then review it. Then,
I think the only stumble you'd come upon is if there is someone who is trying to get into the photography who hasn't got any work, but is like really just being like, I've done photography before, but I've not done any cosplay photography, but I really want to get into it. How do they go about applying? Because they've got no profile.
I don't think this passes for them.
No, when I spoke to Megacon about it, they were saying that like it wouldn't mean you wouldn't be able to go there and take photographs. You would still be able to go and take photographs as you have always done. It just means that the people that have got these passes that you still have to pay for, it will be like people that are sort of known or used to working on the con scene. So yeah, it's almost something that you could sort of work up towards. I don't know.
I suppose it also could work I think in a way it could work in the way it's like someone's quite new or fresh within the cosplay community and who is going, I wanted to get a photo but don't know where to do.
They go to these people, these passes, and ask questions. And
it could be something that the venue can turn around and basically say, if you want a photo with someone, you can go to see someone who has a lanyard with the word photographer written on it,
and they'll be able to give you some tips and
advice. I suppose going back to Troy's question about like someone who's maybe starting out in cosplay photography and wants to get involved, it gives them a piece to go up to the photographer and go, how do I become able to get a pass like that? How does that work?
Absolutely.
And it gets that open, but then again it comes down to that networking, communication, and building that rapport with people then, doesn't it, a little bit more? And it gives them a little bit of a maybe a bit more of a comfort thing as well, because there's so many people that have decent cameras at an event who might not be a photographer, who just have a camera with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully it's a way to weed out creep.
Well, this is what we can all hope. I mean, the majority of us, thankfully, on the circuit are, I think, quite well respected and conduct ourselves in
professional manners,
a nice manner, professional manner. But there are still some people out there who, I think more so at the mainstream events, because they're a little bit more. They can hide amongst people. Yeah, because I think the larger the event, the more likely there is to be some sort of, I'll call them GWCs, guys with cameras. They're not photographers. They're just.
Did I ever tell you about the incident at Costa?
No.
So I was queuing up at Costa, grabbing some snacks for me, John, and Lucy after we just shot. They were tired. They needed some sugar. So queuing up. An interaction happened that up to a certain point, and we'll see if the viewers can find out what point it stopped going really well. So, there's an anime called Spy X Family, and it was one of the ones that lots of people were dressed at maybe a year or two ago. Specifically the mother, who is in quite a revealing outfit with suspenders, think like Angelina Jolie in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. She's that sort of like assassin thing. The whole thing of the anime is both parents are assassins, adopted daughter telepath. She knows that both parents are assassins, but neither of the parents knows the other one's an assassin, and they're both trying to hold down day jobs, like one's working for the government, one's working for someone else, and never the two shall realise that the other's an assassin. So she was in this Anya, like, cosplay, very revealing, absolutely fine, like, not over the top, but it showed breasts, legs, etc., slit up, all that. And she was there with her boyfriend. As she was coming out, a guy says, "Can I take your photo?"
This is okay so far?
Yeah, all good so far. That happens, photo is taken, and I'm thinking while waiting for my drink, this is really good. I'm really happy with how this interaction has gone. Yeah. She then goes, and then the guy who took the photo, who had what I would call, is that thing of, it's either a low-level professional camera or a high-level enthusiast camera. It's one of those ones in the Canon line where it could be either. Yeah. He turns around to his friend and says, "No, I do that character, so that's one for the wank bank."
Right.
I was like, all the way up to that point, this conversation and interaction had been going very well, and then you ruined it. So it's not necessarily the people on the scene. It's
all
people.
I would say about that is, it's better that he said it out loud and that people around are now aware of the type of person he is. So can then say, "Please delete my photos," rather than someone just having those thoughts and keeping it to themselves.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Going back to AnimeCon, the other thing that made me laugh is they didn't check tickets. So we were there queuing up, and they literally like a ticket on the thing, and I got slightly confused because like the way my tickets were separate tickets, and the way like Megacon, no, like MCM works is you can either have like a weekend pass or individual days, but if you bought 2 individual days, it doesn't equal a weekend ticket. So I just said, oh, day pass. And they handed it to me, didn't check my ticket. Another person there was like, weekend, they just handed it, they didn't check it. The only point I think it ever got checked was if you paid for VIP, in which case you went to a separate bit internally after you've already got in to show them VIP ticket to get like extra freebies. But you're already in the con at that point. So like, they were like, from a losing money point of view, people who have bought like a 1-day ticket, I'll just go get double-day wristbands and they say, oh, weekend.
Crazy.
Like, especially if you look and you notice that no one in front of you is checking. Like, I felt like there was a lot of half-assed stuff. And then, like, they had the karaoke thing, and, like, there was a person there who kept putting their hand up, like, wanting to do it. And they kept, like, not picking them. And then when he finally said something, their response was, well, you should have made it known then. I was like, he was putting his hand up politely to the point when, like, no one else was. They were, like, waiting 4 or 5 minutes between sets to try and find someone. And then this super, like, Spider-Man cosplayer was putting his hand up and they were basically ignoring him and then had a sassy comment at the end. I was like, this is, and they eventually just walked away. I was like, this is not the way to run an event.
Insane. So, I mean, we're coming towards the end of the show now, I think, but just quickly from each of you, I'll probably discount overseas cosplay events here because we've all been to different ones. So UK events only. What would you say has been your favourite venue? Or what would you say is generally, is or has been your favourite venue? Where have you got some of your best shots from, Declan?
Okay, I have 2. One's a surprise and one's not a surprise. So my surprise one is SecretCon the Bunker. So I was only going to that event to support you guys as a business, and I was expecting to have no good photos from it because I knew the idea of the World War II bunker, super dark, super hard to light. I'm not someone who normally carries the functional lighting with me. I wasn't expecting to get any good shots.
Yeah.
I got some amazing shots.
We had a lot of people say similar from that event, actually, that came away very surprised at how well they did lighting-wise compared to Magna. I think it was because it was a bit more confined, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Actually, on the flip side, Magna, I expected to get really good shots at. Actually, of the secret cons, my opinion, Magna is the worst venue. I struggled the most there. I got some nice images up in the air section, like my gender bend jigs with Marco and Sean's Graves images. I really like. But the rest of the day is a bit of a write-off for me. But again, I'll always come to your events to support you.
I think your second visit of Magna, I think it's a bit like the prison. I think it's such a vast venue with so many different areas. The bunker is very similar, no matter, although there's loads of different places and it's a vast venue, it's very similar in style and the way you light it, whereas Magna is very, very different in each section.
Yeah.
So I think you'll probably find your second visit. What's your second?
And then my second is the prison. Prison, I've always got some stunning images. The only things, like, I'm learning every time I go to the prison. Like, I know I wanted a wider angle lens, which I've now bought. Because when you're in the cells, you want to get so wider. Stop it, Switch. I can see you chuckling. But it allowed for such amazing images, like the silks work that Steph did. Like Harley Quinn on the silks. When else am I going to get an image like that?
Angle, definitely.
Yeah, but like, when else am I going to get an image like that? Another Harley, but Chloe on the Hangman's noose,
right? Yeah,
General Psycho. Another Harley, but Gender Bend Beanie doing the waltz and stuff in the rep round. Just the venue, that was amazing, and the boudoir shot of Jordan and Lucy, Green Arrow, Black Canary.
Yeah, of course.
It's
Cool.
such a versatile venue. The prison is my absolute favourite, and I will go back there as many times as we can.
So,
You
Troy,
can't 'cause I blew it
same
up in a
question
video.
to you.
You can't
again?
use the prison again because I blew it up in a video. It's gone.
That's very true.
Not there.
That's very
No,
true.
no. So what you need is you need to be dressed as a Deadpool Doctor Who, and you need to
Go
come in
back
a
in
solid
time.
screwdriver, and you
I
need
have
got
already
green
thought this through.
I would
have
just say
already thought
tables,
this through
wrists.
if we do go back. Yeah, I have already
Anyway,
thought this through if
I'm
we end
not
up
going to
going
say
back.
whether we are or aren't ever going back to the prison. So, Troy, what would you say is your favourite? And I will say it doesn't have to be Secret Con. It can be other events in the UK. There are other events. What would you say have been your
It
favourite
is.
locations?
It's the prison because I've got the most out of it. I do a lot of stuff that obviously suits that sort of aspect. And I've got a lot of great stuff out of there. I've obviously done Bond there. I've done numerous Daredevils. I've done Green Arrow, Peacemaker. I've
I
got
finally
so
shot
much
the
out of that
Peacemaker. I'm so
location.
proud.
I know, you need to send me another couple of shots. We need to put that one up actually at some point, don't we? That reminds
I
me.
was going to say you haven't edited a shot of that, but you haven't done anything with it. You don't get any more until
We'll
you've
put it
edited
up.
the last one. Post the last one.
Okay, we'll put it up.
Switch. Oh, go on.
yeah.
Sorry, Troy,
This is
you're
a
not
bit
finished.
done one.
I think the prison. Sorry, yeah. I again though, I did really enjoy the bunker. I obviously,
Beautiful weapon
Yeah.
bunker was that.
Yeah, it was epic.
That was a
Yeah, I
brilliant
mean-
shot.
I'm incredibly critical of myself, obviously, with stuff like that, and I know that I wasn't at my best.
Oh,
but-
come off him, man.
I thought the venue was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, Switch, what about you?
I think we're going to end up going in a very similar pattern as the other two. I think I'm going to do it the other way around, though. I'm going to say Bunker's going to be one of my favourite locations from Secret Con that we've done. One, it took me by surprise because there wasn't anything really beforehand that we could look at to see what the venue was like, what can we expect. So walking through them doors for the first time was kind of that sort of creative paradise in a little bit of a way where you can go, what can I do? What can I get away with? What we got here, and trying to see what we can do. For me, kind of felt like I had a bit more freedom in a way to play around with maybe some ideas of things, especially with lighting and flashes. And it kind of had to force me to get out of my comfort zone, because if you didn't have that lighting or flash, it was going to be very difficult to find something that would work.
Why do you think I stuck with Darren?
Should just stole Pete's lights. He just left them hanging around, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did, actually, yeah.
Me and Darren made a conversation. We were talking about it. We were
I
like,
actually smashed one of Darren's lights.
Yeah, you broke the tofu.
yeah. Also, James dropped his light as well. Didn't he, doing the dance for you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
He did. I forgot that. That's in the video, and I
That's in
actually
the film,
used it as a spoof.
Yeah. So I would say Bunkers was a good one, but it was good because it was a learning curve, because it really puts you out of your element to try and do something different. And then again, Secret Con for me, but I want to say Prison, but I'm going to be a little bit different. I'm going to say Magna. So Magna was my very first Secret Con for me. Didn't know what to expect. I was still very new in the point from a photography perspective within the cosplay community. So for me, it was the first time I felt like I had networked a lot more. I was networking with people a lot more. I started building up the confidence to talk to the cosplayers more, to shoot with them. It pushed me outside of my comfort zone. But I know exactly what the others are saying about Magna in regards to it, whereas it's such a vast area, and I think the first time, because it was only one day, I did feel very rushed. I felt like I was all over the place and running around. So I'm looking forward to going back next year with a completely different mind and a very different skill set, to go back and go, right, it's a 2-day event. I don't need a rush. I know what's there. I can plan potential shoots with cosplayers that are going to go there, because I have a better vision of it in my mind. Of I can walk around because I've been there, I've done that. So I'm hoping I can elevate my level again, going back there.
And now we edit this video, and you say the prison for obvious reasons.
Prison's a little bit of a personal one, though, really, wasn't it? Because there was that that small thing of a proposal.
An obvious one for you, I think, Switch.
Yeah, I mean, Prison's always got a place for me, though. I love Prison as well. You can't.
I think for me, I mean, it's hard for me being a director, but one of my favourite locations.
What's your favourite child?
I think one of my favourite locations is a secret con event, and it's the prison. And the main reason for that is our first ever event. I got to shoot my first ever Cyberpunk cosplay, which was Kunai cosplay as Panam, which is one of my favourite characters in the game. And
I even know which shot.
I'm going to say it. I absolutely smashed the shots. I loved them.
You're so modest. I love it.
Say that. Honestly, it's not often I say that about my work, but I really loved those shots. I mean, literally, I really feel sorry for Naomi, because we were shooting for about an hour and a half, solid, and it was just insane. And yeah, it was probably one of my most memorable shoots. And I think obviously it was our first secret con as well, so it holds kind of a bit of a dear place in my heart. But away from that, I'm also going to say Megacon Manchester. I've only been twice, but as I've said, I love the area, I love the venue, I love the vibe. And Manchester's a great city. Megacon's a great event, and those two elements work so well together.
We actually did some really cool Shazam stuff at Manchester, Darren. I've just remembered.
Yeah, we did.
Because we had the
I don't think we posted
really
many of them, actually.
I put a couple up. I put a few up.
I think we have. We need to post some more.
Because you did like a very dark and green on the background, and then obviously the red was just like
just popped
a bit in the middle.
Yeah.
I know what you're on about as well, actually.
Okay, so we're going to come on to like the final part of the show, because
it's the final countdown.
So yeah, we have been chatting card shit for nearly 2.5 hours now. So I mean, probably a little bit less by the time I've edited this down.
Yeah,
I hope so. I won't listen to this.
Once we've edited Declan out,
no, I won't. I don't listen. You will be. I don't listen to my own voice and stuff.
So we're going to do a little Q&A, but a little bit differently to our last show. This is going to be a guest Q&A, and this is questions from myself and Switch. So, first question: have you got any exciting up-and-coming projects that you wish to share with us?
Behave.
This cosplay-related projects.
Troy, it's your choice whether you discuss why I put my middle fingers up.
So, yes, for that reason, I will go to Troy first. I'm more than happy for Troy to discuss this if he wants to, or if he wants to do something totally different.
I think we keep that under wraps.
Yep.
I think it's exciting.
I'm down with that.
We have me, Declan, and Darren, and numerous other people have got something in the pipeline. It involves me cutting, which these
Could
two
you please
should be very
explain that to
thankful.
the audience?
Yeah, please explain what cutting is.
I got it as soon as
I have. If you look at my Instagram, I do a lot of training and stuff, and then decide for photo shoots, I diet down for 12 weeks to reduce my body fat. Now, last time I got down to about think it was about 6 or 7% body fat.
Having
These two
from
should be very.
myself, like, jealous.
Yeah, I mean,
These two should be
bingo
very
wing central here.
thankful because after working out my dates, I have to cut over Christmas.
Oh,
So
dude.
I start on December the 8th and will literally give myself 1 day on Christmas Day to have a little bit more of something. Other than that, I will not be having Christmas festivity food much.
Wow. Okay.
So
I mean,
dedication.
if that's not a teaser for people, then I don't know what is. So is there any other upcoming projects that you've got either for this year, next year, that you do want to share with people?
So most know on my Instagram, I'm working on the new version of this guy. I am so excited for that new film. I grew up on Christopher Reeve, and the fact they've gone very old school with this one by the looks of things. I obviously love James Gunn as well. I am doing that. The suit is literally downstairs. It literally needs a few more upgrades and it will be done.
Nice.
Hopefully, MCM October, it will be ready. The other one I'm working on, which I was hoping for MCM October, will not be done. It's just a big build. Is Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe.
Yeah, nice.
I have all the armor painted. And it is literally like a full plated armor. There's chest, abs, the back is all plated, everything. I need to do the helmet. I have actually had the visor vacuum formed as well, so it's a proper working visor. And then I need to find a suit to mount it on, so that it, obviously all will Velcro on. But that's quite a big project.
Yeah.
So as much as I wanted to do it for October, I don't want to rush it.
Well, there's
Obviously,
a good
with
con
moving
coming
house
up
as
in
well.
March that would probably suit that one.
The plans we've got for this thing between us is there, so it might be quite difficult.
Sweet, I can't wait to see this then. I'm gonna have to hover around.
I mean, we could tell you. We'll tell you offline. We'll tell you
Tell me
offline.
offline, yeah.
Yeah.
You're in for a treat.
I mean, it's going to be probably a really difficult day for me out there. So much so that I'm going to have to try and find a few people to help me with the dance video this time completely, because I'm going to be just
we can
not
sort
much
that.
time. So I might have to get a few people to.
You can allocate secret con staff for it.
Well, or you can bring an assistant. Don't forget.
Yeah, bring an assistant.
Yeah.
He hasn't there.
And then, not to anyone's massive surprise, I have 3 more of these being done. Three more renditions of Daredevil.
Fucking hell.
I've got.
How are you affording a mortgage?
Comic version. So I've got like the full bright red comic. Planning on doing the. I don't know if any of you have seen the King suit he wears.
Yes, I've
seen
the King suit.
He's got the bow staff and he's more of a ninja. That
you one. Full on beard as well, or
I can't really grow a beard, so I might have to.
That now.
Yeah, look at
you'll like him, Darren.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually
like
4.
Like a hooded suit. Is it like a hooded suit?
Yeah.
Kind of almost like Green Arrow meets Daredevil in a way.
A little bit. The story's pretty cool. He goes a bit rogue with it. And then I'm planning on doing the Ben Affleck suit. I'm going to do the original Ben Affleck suit. Because I like that movie. It's cheesy, but
I like that movie as well, to be fair.
But it was a good movie at the time. Yeah, like you said, it was cheesy, but it worked.
We definitely need to shoot the King suit because I'm really liking the look of that. Yeah,
and Tess will be doing the Elektra with me as well for that.
Nice.
So Ready Cosplay 1. When we get around to it, she'll be doing the Elektra Daredevil.
Amazing.
I mean, there's bits and bobs all over the place as well, smaller stuff, but yeah, they're the main ones.
Nice.
So, Deck, what projects have you got coming up, mate? Anything that you want to share with us over the next 12 months?
Cosplay related, please.
I mean, it's technically a Sex and the City cosplay.
I remember you mentioning that one, actually, yeah.
I mean, it's not intentionally a Sex and the City cosplay, but I have got someone who wants to...
That.
Yeah, so I have someone who's booked me for, like, a Boudoir spicy shoot, who wants to replicate the scene from Sex and the City where Samantha has, like, sushi all over their body on Valentine's Day, where their boyfriend walks in and, like, finds all the sushi, but then the boyfriend doesn't turn up. So she wants to do that shoot. So the idea is it's going to be a top-down. She's going to be laying on the table. I'm thinking in my head, red silk, like, ruffled blanket underneath her, or, like, ruffled sheeting.
Cool.
Sushi all laid out, hiding, like, inappropriate areas. And then, shooting from down. I've got some cosplay boudoir stuff booked in for December. By some people we shot in MCM March, which would be really fun.
Okay, yeah.
And then we're trying to arrange Cyberpunk if we can find a venue that doesn't want to charge us $2,000 for a day.
Well, I'm doing this Spores Arcane shoot down in London in October, and that may be a potential venue. I'm going to check it out because it's quite cost effective, but I'll let you know.
Nice. And then I think that's it. I mean, we're trying to get some other little projects done, but that's not cosplay related.
Oh yeah, I'm being strung up as Magneto
Well,
as
then,
well. I forgot about that.
You mean what? Sorry?
Huh?
Strung up as Magneto now. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, you forgot about that one.
Oh, that's right. I have 2 studios for you to pick from for that too. And we're doing Japan Con in December.
Yeah, we are. So
I don't know if Nats is planning on going cosplay for that one.
I don't think she will. No, I think she will.
But yeah.
Cool. So I know originally this was intended to be a guest Q&A, but I'm going to throw the same question out to you, Switch.
Oh.
Switch, that means you do it to him.
I mean, I've got... Yeah, I mean, it could do him as well. I mean, I've got things being planned. Obviously, Declan knows about this one, which is I want to do... It's a mixture between sort of... so it's about 6 females in sort of office attire / sexy lingerie, but utilising smoke, different kind of smoke.
Nice.
Up in a field near where I'm at, and utilising smoke, sort of countryside in sort of really fancy office, sexy lingerie style bits and pieces. Nice. So there's been some interest in that. I just need to finish bits and pieces on that before I can schedule anything. That is in the plan. I'd love that to do that for like a sort of a Halloween-esque sort of vibe, sort of bits and pieces. Other things I'm working on. So I'm processing, doing some bits and pieces at the moment. Mental health. I'm doing some more bits at MCM with a few people.
Nice.
Got a couple of other cosplayers who are up for doing something. So I might end up doing some trips into London and doing some sort of city style shooting with the buildings and looking at sort of the architecture side of it all with in and around mental health as well, but using the building scapes as sort of like fun backgrounds. And then I've got a few other bits and pieces that I've got thoughts on, but not in motion. And then just your general sort of MCMs, Secret Cons, stuff like that. I haven't got anything really massively planned for next year. I did fitness shoot last weekend, which I've got to go through all the edits and do once they tell me what they want. Other than that, and then catch up on backlog of other stuff. So at the moment, I'm trying to cut back on the amount of projects I'm thinking of in my mind. Now that Troy's mentioned some of his Daredevil ideas, I feel like I need to do something there.
It will never cut down.
I'll always put up a flipping helmet with horns on it any day.
Especially King Daredevil, definitely on my avenue for that one. But nice. Now, obviously, you've asked me, so let's jump to you, Darren. Let's see what projects have you got upcoming. that you can share?
Actually, quite a lot. This year, I think we mentioned on the last podcast, has been probably one of my best years. I've been through a bit of a tough time prior, and I used that to really push myself and focus this year. And yeah, I think a lot of what I've shot this year has really inspired me. So there's a project that myself, Troy, and Carlos have been discussing for a while that I'm hoping to get off the ground, which is based on the film Drive. So yeah, that one is one that is still in the planning. A bit of a bucket list shoot, but one that I'm just waiting on date back from Tank Space that myself and Troy will be shooting is the Roy Batty Tears in Rain scene from Blade Runner. That is a full-on bucket list shoot for me, and it's one that I'm really hoping I do justice. But I'm feeling in the right headspace creatively to be able to do it. So yeah, I'm also planning some stuff with Chloe. It's Chloe Hill. Planning some cool brand stuff. I won't say which brand at the minute, but something I'm quite excited about. We're also planning quite a cool and quirky iZombie shoot, which will be cool. And I'm going to be going back to my cinematic roots and planning a really cool sort of dark and moody cinematic shoot as well, which might have a little bit of a spicy twist to it, but will be sort of insta safe, if you like. Hope it will anyway.
And that's going to be in your after dark.
Yeah, so I'm going to planning on that side of things for my new After Dark brand.
Copycat.
Thank you. Not copycat. You give it a name.
No, this is true.
So yeah, I wanted to split my brand out because before cosplay, I used to do a lot more non-cosplay shoots, a bit spicy, but artistic, and I want to not go back to those roots, but do more of it alongside.
Why don't you allow a slight dig at me?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No dig necessary.
I was like, I heard it's slightly spicy but artistic.
You've got your own shovel to dig your own hole for that one.
So yeah, I've got some plans to do that sort of stuff over the next 12 months. Some cyberpunk stuff that I'm planning as well with a couple of people. Yeah, there's quite a few projects in the works. And an Alice in Wonderland shoot as well that myself and Shalimar stuff. We worked on a project last year based on Harlequin, which was our multiverse Harlequin, Harleyverse we called it, shoot, nice. Which we spent quite a lot of time in planning. Had quite a few cosplayers involved. We put quite a bit of our own money into that as well. But it was a shoot we loved. It was a little bit of labour of love, and we're going to do a similar sort of project with Alice in Wonderland. But this Alice in Wonderland is going to have a bit of a twist, a bit of a dark twist. Right. Dark and cinematic, I think, is how I would pitch that. So we're hoping to do that probably sometime in the next 12 months if we can. But we're in no rush to do it because we want to get it right. Find the right cosplayers, find the right venue. Got a couple of venues in mind. Again, thanks to you, Declan, for the suggestions a couple of months ago.
I'm quite good at location scouting.
You are.
Location.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then the rest, I think, of the projects. I mean, I feel like I've got loads of projects that are in the planning at the moment. It's going to be a really exciting 12 months, I think. But that kind of brings me on to the next bit, which I'm going to ask the guests first. So, what events are you guys planning to attend next year? Let's maybe not the normal mainstream ones that you're used to attending. What new events are you looking to attend next year? Troy?
I mentioned earlier we're doing DragonCon next year.
DragonCon, yeah.
Cool. So like we sort of said our plans after WonderCon because we just absolutely loved it is to I think this next year we're going to do that one. The following year we might do New York.
Nice.
And then I think it feels like WonderCon and potentially DragonCon might become like ones we really enjoy. So maybe
Alternating
like
years,
every other
maybe.
year we'll do one or something like that and just use them.
Nice.
After talking to you, and you suggesting it, I might apply for Volta.
I think that's one that you definitely should try and go for personally.
Dude, I think with your cosplays, you know, and more importantly, your level and quality of cosplay. I don't like using the word quality really, but certainly your commitment and passion, I think, is probably a better way of putting it. I think you would be really well received by the photographers and the cosplay and the Volta team. You know, I really think you could be a real asset to them. I mean, all you can do is apply and see what happens.
So probably give that a go.
Nice. And of course, you need to go to Rimini so that we can do your beach spawn shoot.
I think
I'm doing that on purpose.
There's a few that are planned, but then there's ones that just come along quite sporadic. Like I do a lot of out-of-con shoots, which I love doing. I know they're not events, but out-of-con shoots are something I really enjoy doing. And I think they come. I think next year, to be honest, might be quite a big one for me. With Born Again coming out and Superman, it's like next year is big on the stuff that I'm really, really passionate about.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be more stuff gets added. But they're the main ones.
So Deck, obviously you've already mentioned South Africa. Any other events next year that you are planning to attend?
So next year, Star Wars Celebration in April. Assuming the timings work out for that, the idea is to go with some friends, do that for one day. But Japan is kind of becoming a holiday destination for me.
Understandable.
I really enjoy it over there. I've never felt safer lugging around a load of expensive camera gear at 2 a.m.
Really cool here, actually. That really is, you know.
Like, I was doing some night photography, like, in the street at literally 3 a.m. and I felt so safe. Like, you had people walking past, people riding their bikes.
I don't think you've shown any of those shots, actually. I don't think I've seen any. No.
I am sure.
I think you sent me some whilst you were shooting, but you've not sent me any of the edited shots.
I am sure at least one of them is on Insta.
It may be. I may have missed it.
In my head, I feel like it is. No, it's not, because the only one that's on Insta is that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so did those shots, and I felt so safe. And that's a big thing for me. And you would be surprised how many times I've been out shooting at 2 a.m. in the middle of a street. So yeah, so that is actually a big thing for me. What else? So that's April is Soul Celebration. I want to apply for Volta. I don't think I'd get in, but I'm going to try and apply.
I don't know. I think you would.
But, I'll give it a go. It's a thing I'm applying for. I've got some other.
All I'll say is, same as say to anyone, if you don't get accepted this time, don't take it personally and apply again
exactly.
next time.
No, I wouldn't. It's an excuse. It's not an excuse, though. It's a way to improve and a way to learn. DragonCon, I really want to do next year. I've messaged some friends. I messaged Frank, Old Fashioned Nerd, about DragonCon, friend Danny Lantern, and a few others who are like, it's one they go to a lot. Will, Thorgon Cub. he goes every year to that one. So it's one that I really want to do that one because I've got lots of friends who attend it. I will try and drag you to it.
Quite happy to go to that.
Then apart from that, I'd like to cut a random one. I know there was jokes in our cosplay chat about FurryCon in Germany.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. I'm just going to say furries pay really well when it comes to getting their photos done. And my head was purely thinking about the money for that one.
Yeah, fair dues.
But no, so I'd like to look at the calendar, work out a date when a few of us are free. Because we did mention doing like some kind of cosplay tog road trip. But like, we could hire a VW camper van.
Preferably Bulgaria, so I can go and shoot with Easy Summer Cosplay.
Yeah. That also reminds me, we need to soon start pinning down, I can't think of her name, Japan, Cyberpunk.
Adele, yeah.
Adele.
Yeah, see if she's available.
Yeah, once we got all the dates booked in and booked, we need to just message her and get all that confirmed.
For other people I'd like to shoot with in Tokyo as well. So, yeah, cool.
Cool, I'll be tagging along.
So
how about you guys?
As with the previous one, I'm going to ask the same question to you, Switch. Is there any new events that you're looking on attending next year?
I'm actually cutting back on events next year.
That's fair.
No, this is bad.
No. I mean, no. You have got a wedding to plan.
Yeah, I'm cutting back purely because obviously commercial cons are just expensive. This year, me and my partner have done around 10 to 11 cons this year alone.
Wow.
So next year is going to be a little bit lighter, but doesn't mean it's going to be lighter on projects because I'll get bored. No. So I'm going to have to do something.
What I heard you say there is, if you were single, it would be cheaper.
Oh, we're not going down that avenue. Don't get me in trouble. She's already. I'm already in the doghouse because she's not allowed to.
Set another marker. Set another marker.
Yeah, another marker.
I've been filming for nearly 3 hours, so
yeah, no. So I think for me, it's going to be predominantly the cons I'm going to be doing. I'm definitely going to be doing any of the secret cons next year, and then I will do maybe 1 or 2 others, which will be like obviously going back to commercial, whether it be MCM or Megacon. Not sure which one, but outside of that side of things, I think it's mostly going to be project work or anything I can kind of come up with in collaboration with other cosplayers and other photographers and seeing what can be done. I would love to do a tank space one day. I was going to try and book one this year, but it just didn't happen. So I think next year I'd love to be able to do something. So
I'm just going to say now, we've got 3 photographers here and 1 cosplayer. We've almost got enough there to book tank space for a day between us.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
We'll talk about that one offline.
Carlos has also messaged me a few times and said, when you book tank space, let me know. I want to be. So we've got four togs there straight away. So yeah, we'll have a chat about that.
I've also got cosplayers, Jordan and Lucy both. Lucy wants to do Mermaid Yennefer.
We could easily fill a day between us and make it cost effective. We need to do it.
But that's another conversation all on its own. But yeah, so essentially that's my plans for next sort of year is working on my own projects and bits and pieces like that.
Nice.
And obviously you.
Well, I suppose I better answer the same question.
Yeah.
We don't care.
My problem is that I want to attend all the events. I've learned about so many cool events next year that I've just not got enough annual leave to cover it. So, because obviously I'm going on holiday to Norway, I'm doing Japan at Christmas and New Year, that's going to limit my annual leave. Because of Norway, I don't think I'm going to be able to do Volta next year. But it depends on the dates. I'll keep an eye on the dates, and if it fits, I'll still apply. I would like to do Pixelmania. But I would need an assistant.
Is that the one in Poland?
Yeah. So I would need an assistant stroke driver, Declan. Thank you very much.
If it wasn't you, he's gonna shout me. So
why don't you come too, and then we can share the driving?
I'm out.
Well, hang on a minute. I've got to move on to the next one yet. So Focus Cosplay in Central France in September. Switch, you'd be my choice for that one. Yeah, I mean the cosplayers that I met at Volta that run that are insane, and they did say to me that they'd really like me to attend one of their events.
I'm just putting it out there. My comprehension of the French language is better than my comprehension of Polish.
My comprehension of any of them is shit.
Any language, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so they're the main ones. I'd also like to do Dokumi at some point, but I don't think I'm going to get to do that next year. The same with Con Crunch in Prague. I'm just not going to get to it. Rimini, get it out of your system. Wow, he didn't laugh. What?
He's trying. He's trying.
Put yourself on mute for that.
Becoming desensitized.
I bet you are.
We've already had that conversation, Switch.
Yeah, that is one for me that I'd really like to attend next year, purely because it's like coastal Italy.
I'm very pro that one, just to get Troy with the Speedos.
Yeah. And then I think
I just know I'll get a lot of likes on both of my pages for that one.
Absolutely. And then one of the US cons, so WonderCon or DragonCon. I don't know if I'll get to either of them next year because of annual leave. I think DragonCon, if any, would suit because of the timing. What time of year
August,
is
September?
WonderCon? Sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's now. It's on at the moment. Literally this weekend.
No,
that's DragonCon.
Sorry, I thought you said Dragon.
That's what I thought
What
as well.
time of year is WonderCon?
Oh, when did we? Oh God, when did we go? Honestly, it was like March time, I think.
It's 28th to 30th of March 2025.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. So yeah,
it was the weekend after Megacon Birmingham because I went for a day.
Yes, she did.
DragonCon would maybe work, but I know we've talked about it. Deck, I would also quite like to do Megacon Dublin.
Yeah, I forgot Megacon Dublin.
Yeah, it seems like quite a nice, cool event. Not too expensive to go to.
Guinness.
And I've heard it's quite a nice chilled event.
Look, I'm a bad Irishman. I hate Guinness.
Guinness in Ireland.
Doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter where I drink it. I'm still a disappointment to my family.
So I'm going to go on to one quick fire. I'm going to do this for everybody. Actually, I'll start with you, Troy. One cosplay that you would love to tick off your bucket list.
Hellboy.
Oh,
fuck!
Not see that come in.
I'll paint you up for Hellboy.
I've already got the shoot
serious.
locked in. Yeah, no, I know, and I've already got the shoot location locked in and everything. I don't mind saying it. It's in the British Museum.
I would fucking love to shoot that.
Oh,
access to the British Museum.
Nice.
Great.
Okay, so just let us know when and where we will be there.
We'll do a live podcast.
I've got the horns. Literally got the horns already. Yeah, Hellboy.
Nice.
Deck, same to you.
Ivy Valentine.
Nice.
Big influential character. Someone doesn't check my wish list on my Instagram profile. I've now set up a cosplay wish list of cosplays I'd like to shoot. Sounds really pretentious. I will shoot most people, but I got really bored of. I had one event where 3 people came up and were like, "Oh, this Spider-Man would be really good for your portfolio," and I found it mildly insulting. So I now have made this wish list of these are things I want to shoot. Ivy Valentine is a huge one for me. I don't actually think I've ever seen an Ivy Valentine cosplayer, but if I was to see an Ivy Valentine cosplayer, I would run up and ask them to shoot it. I would like to do it as a studio shoot because she has the iconic sort of stances with the sword whip that like goes around her. So I'd like to basically photograph the whip separate, be able to like position it how I want to position it, and then composite that into the shot. And I feel like that in the grounds of a stately home or something, because from the storyline point of view, she comes from a rich English background. Her dad is Cervantes, the like pirate guy from the game, and like he fucked off when she was younger or whatever, was presumed dead, and yeah, she's actually like rich English lady. So that in an English stately home, like Keel Hall, if I could find someone that was up for that. I mean, not even at a SequelCon event because Keel Hall was just public property, or like public access is what I meant.
The outside grounds are, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be beautiful in the grounds at Keel Hall, or a similar location.
Cool. Switch, what's your one bucket list cosplay shoot you'd like to tick off?
It always changes depending on the mood, but in my mind at the moment, I've had a lot of, for some reason, Sucker Punch has been in my mind a lot. That sort of style at the moment is being lodged in there. Something I would love to do something along them lines.
I've shot Sucker Punch as my first ever cosplay shoot, as we saw in the last podcast. And then I shot it at last year Gloucester Prison with Annie Connects cosplay. She was really cool. But I would, I'd love to do like a full group shot.
That's what I'm thinking. Is something along them lines.
You don't really see the other characters cosplayed like that often. You normally see Baby Doll, but occasionally you see one of the others like individually. But I'm with you on that.
It's just something that at the moment it's just been stuck in my mind. It's just like that sort of genre, that sort of style, has just been there. It's just been lodged in my brain.
Me want to watch the movie again.
It's part of why I've been like going, I want to watch this now. But yeah, that's something that sort of style is in my mind a lot at the moment.
Awesome. I think for me, I mean, I've already mentioned plans to shoot the Roy Batty Tears in Rain scene from Blade Runner, but that was probably my main bucket list one that fortunately is in the plans. My next one, again, that I would love to do, which I think is going to prove a bit more difficult, but it's Blade Runner again, and I would love to shoot a scene with both Rachel and Deckard, but trying to find cosplayers to do those two characters because it's such an old fandom now, quite niche. Rachel has very distinct features and looks, and particularly with the hair. It's one that I think I'm probably going to struggle to find the cosplayers for. So just putting it out there, anyone wants to cosplay Deckard or Rachel from the original Blade Runner and fancies a shoot, then drop me a message.
Right.
But yeah, that would be mine. So I think we're going to wind this up now. We've been chatting for
I'm
quite
sure
a
you
while
always
now.
wind us up.
Never.
Wow. Yeah. So for anybody that hasn't fallen asleep, we're going to bring this to a close. And I don't know about you guys, but although we've been chatting for a while, this has probably felt like one of our most relaxed podcast chats in a while. It's been great having you all on board, actually.
Exactly.
It's been really good fun. Honestly, so from your hosts, me, iPhoto UK,
Switch Photography,
and obviously our guests, Declan Scammell and Captain Tempest. Thank you very much for watching and or listening. I hope we haven't bored you too much. I hope we've given you something to either learn from or get some information from,
or get excited about.
Absolutely. As ever, if you've got any questions, advice, information that you think would be of interest to us, drop us a line on any of our socials. So on Instagram, cosplay.tog.all.things.nerdy is our main socials, and you'll find us on various other social platforms such as YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. All the links
below.
Exactly. But yeah, thank you all very much for listening, and most of all, thank you to our guests this week.
Yeah, you should be seeing them again really soon as well.
Absolutely. We've got another upcoming episode where we're going to talk about con safety and con etiquette, where we're going to welcome another excellent cosplay guest. And we'll be recording that soon. But again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.